I love how one of your tabs is just Yu-Gi-Oh question mark.
Yeah, I was like, I assume Matt is going to want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh at some point.
Oh yeah, I really don't think that you guys are gonna give a shit. So if I do, it'll be very, very briefly.
Oh, we all know Matt. He just never stops going on about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, if you want to put something on the screen, put dual links up there.
It's
That's
yeah,
what I
it's
talk
just
about.
like shows how much I know about how in depth Yu-Gi-Oh is. So I've got like there's people can't see it on the recording, but there's the Baldur's Gate tab. There's like a little RuneScape tab, stuff like that, just in case. And it's just Yu-Gi-Oh question mark just chucked into Google. Like I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh is just Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Maybe we should have a little sit down where we teach you Yu-Gi-Oh. We did it for Will when Master Duel came out. Will was like, I want to play this game. We were like, okay, and Will was like, teach me a deck. So then like me and Sam went away and like half learned how to play Dragon Link each, and like slowly kind of taught Will how that worked.
I think Will got it down and then stopped immediately.
Well, the problem I had playing Yu-Gi-Oh was the minute my opponent went off script and didn't just let me wail on them, I caved completely and didn't know what to do.
There's no plan B.
Yeah, I would be like, right, okay, I've got my solitaire in my head where I have to do these 9 very specific things in a row, and I would do the first one, and my opponent would be like, actually, I'm gonna sacrifice my Fairy of Blumpkin and stop you doing that, and I would be like, all right, concede. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I surrender. It's fine.
Well played.
Like me and Sam used to. Because there was a deck that we were playing way back when, and I played this deck, and I'd run I'd let do the solitaire, I'd play it on my own, and be like, right, how does this deck work? Right, it does this into this into this into this into this, and then like on the day where we actually played, it was like summon first guy, opponent like destroys the guy that I summoned, and I go, everything chains off of that normal summon, so I now have nothing else I can do. I end my turn.
It reminds me of when I would play, like, I like playing the NetherRealm fighting games for the story. Yeah. And then I'll always go do like a little bit of practice mode, and I'll learn like a cool combo for like Batman or Scorpion or something. And then you jump into your very first online match, and it's like I throw my opener, the guy blocks it, and then throws me across the arena, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to play anymore. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you like mention that because I don't play many card games and stuff. Right? It's just not my genre. But whenever I do, I play them online, almost like a single player game. It's like I'm going to do my thing, and if at any point there's any contention, I'm just like, no, I'm out. See you later. Like, I don't know. It's like you say, like I give up. I haven't been able to do my thing. I don't have the brain to work out the counter play, so I'm just like, I'm just gonna go play a shooting game or something. I just can't.
Yeah, it's the problem with games like card games. It's card games are so much about prior knowledge, especially if you're trying to play competitively. It's like, what is the meta right now? So if you know the meta, you kind of know what your opponent's going to have in their deck, and then you kind of know the type of staples they use, so you can play around them. And that's why when people play off meta, that will catch you off guard even more, because you're like, I am not prepared for off meta. I'm prepared for the 3 really, really strong decks that everyone's playing.
Yeah.
That always just that happens. That's just not like card games. That's just everything, right? It's like bringing it back to say like fighting games. You practice so much against characters that you always see, and then someone will bring in an absolute like not even E-Honda, just like an absolute dirt tier character, like worst of the worst, like Dan, who is an absolute joke, and you just get bodied because you just don't know. You just don't know what he does. When I went to a fight, like my first and only ever fighting game tournament, I had 2 characters that I played. I played Makoto and I played Evil Ryu. And my Evil Ryu just generally was so much better, had so much more practice, but I found no success with him because everyone just knew how to do that fight. It had been solved. Whereas Makoto was like, I found her really fun, but she was again like a really low tier character. So you just like rush in, grab people, and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, what are you doing? Even in like a competitive setting.
Evil Ryu, when he came out, that was so disgusting. He had like this ridiculously long, like 20-second combo in like an era where that wasn't a thing. Like a 6-second combo was like the cap.
Yeah.
And like Ryu would like go across the screen, drag you, start juggling you a little bit, and it was like, what the fuck is he doing? This is a different game.
He's playing Marvel vs. Capcom. He looks so cool in that game. Street Fighter 4 Evil Ryu. I absolutely loved him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was the main reason, I think, the big selling point to get the whatever the final release was of Street Fighter 5 before.
Oh yeah,
they kept re-releasing it, didn't they, over and over again?
The same thing with any like live service game, I feel, where the new release is always just a little bit busted, just for a little while, just until they patch it, just so it gets people to buy in. Does that happen with like card games and like is there like power creep with Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff?
Oh yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh is the king of power creep as well, because Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have set rotation, which means any card ever in Yu-Gi-Oh that was released from, God, when did Yu-Gi-Oh release? Like 1997 or something. Every card ever since then is legal to play unless it's on the ban list.
Oh right. Yeah.
So in order to, so people would actually still keep buying product, almost every card is better than every card released before it.
Yeah.
I suppose
there's a funny,
right? Yeah.
There's always a funny infographic whenever a new Magic set comes out, which is like for the Eternal format. There's like a, obsolescence chart where it'll be like here's a 2/2 bear for 2 mana that was released in 1997 and it's just been replaced with this 2/2 for 2, but this one has haste, and it's like you might not even want that in your deck, but it's strictly better, so
I still remember when they released a 1-drop 2/2 and it like the community went crazy. They were like, "Oh my god, this has ruined the game. A 1-drop 2/2."
Yeah.
I think every Christmas, Laura and I always get out the Pokemon cards, and I always buy like 1 or 2 decks. You buy the decks that are like pre-made. It's just like you can just play with this.
Yeah.
And it's always funny because we just have like a whole shoebox of cards, and it's always so funny comparing like the basic cards of a new deck, where it's like, here's, I don't know, fucking Score Bunny or something. You give him 1 energy, he does 50 damage and does this, and this. And then you go back to the old cards, and it's like, yeah, here's Pidgey. Give him 2 energies, and he will coin flip to do 10 damage. It's like you are garbage.
Yeah, I think it was when we were at uni, and I was living with Lewis, and Lewis like had one of those dual decks, and it was a Jolteon or something, and I remember looking at it and going, "This has like 320 HP and does 80 damage." And I'm like, "This is insane. How is this fine?" Like, you think back to the day, it was like Charizard had his 120 HP, and everyone was like, "That's so much. It's so big."
Well, you know what Pokemon also has is the art power creep, where it used to be super garbage, like little JPEGs of like Pidgey, and now I open a pack of cards and it's like being flashbanged.
The original was just like fat Pikachu sat in a field, like like staring into space, doing nothing.
Pokemon card art's always been really weird. Like the art style has never been consistent. It was similar a little bit to the FFTCG, where it's just like you'll get one card and it'll be like you say, like a PNG. You'll get another one, it's like a 3D render of something. Then you get another one that's like a child drew it with crayon.
I love that shit.
Yeah, I always thought it was really weird. They never unified because I
kind of like that though. It reminds me of like how like the Yoshi games that Nintendo release, where it's like this year he's made out of crayons, next year he's polystyrene. Like you open a random Pokemon card and it's like, I don't know, Pikachu's now made out of fucking bubble gum for no explanation. Yeah. Like who cares? He's stronger, buy him.
Yeah, Pokemon's actually those dual decks especially are fantastic. That is like
they're so much fun.
Such a good way to get people into your game. Like most other games are really shit at that. I mean, Magic is like, it's okay, especially because Magic rotates. A lot of the time, the cards you get are quite simple, but you open like a pack of modern Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and each card has like 300 words on it, and you're like, this is not made for like getting new people in.
It's why I like playing Pokemon so much every year. It's because the decks are relatively cheap. They're like, I think £12 to £15 for one deck. It's like, that's fine. It's fine. The art's really cool. I like Pokemon. Like I know Pokemon is familiar, and I feel like half of the decks are just based around coin flips. So if I lose, I can be like, that's bullshit. I lost all the coin flips. This is rubbish. Whatever. Flip the table and go back to Christmas dinner.
Card games by nature is you drawing cards from a deck. There's already an air of randomness in it, right? Now, you can do your best to mitigate that as much as you can, but there's still.
Pokemon makes you feel good about it though, because they give you a big plastic coin the size of a dinner plate.
It's because you like getting prizes, isn't it?
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
I remember watching. I think it was the Magic the Gathering like World Championship, and I can't remember which year it was. but I was watching one of the guys was playing red, and I remember that specifically. And I just watched the game. The guy got mana screwed, got stuck on one land, and just like lost after like 4 turns. It was like, yep, World Championship, baby.
I assume
RNG.
That's all RNG. I know nothing about Magic. That's all you guys'
Yeah,
territory.
so you know in God, what was the one that you played? Runeterra.
Yes.
You know, each turn, like your mana went up by 1, and that's like how you played cards.
Oh yeah.
So in Magic the Gathering, your deck has lands in it, which are your mana, but you have to draw into them. So if you just don't find them, or find too many of them, you've either got too few land to play the game, so you don't have enough mana to do anything, or you've got too much mana, and thus don't have cards to play the game, which is always Magic the Gathering.
Energy cards in Pokemon, right? Same sort of similar thing.
Basically.
Yeah.
The way Pokemon gets around it is they have so many cards that like let you draw, let you search, let you do all this extra shit. So even though you do have the same kind of deck building issues, it's mitigated a lot better in Pokemon.
Yeah.
What's funny is
Pokemon has that thing where like they'll do the World Championships, which obviously all TCGs do, and then like that deck is just like now a structure deck you can go buy for 30 quid.
Yeah, which is
that is
cool. Fantastic. And because Magic the Gathering used to do the same thing, but they'd give them like illegal backs, so they weren't legal cards. But Pokemon's just like, nah, fuck it, you can just have this, as far as I'm aware, at least.
Yeah, just do what you want.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, $30 and you have a tournament-winning deck. That is amazing.
Yeah, you too can go to a tournament and win. What are the prize funds like for these sort of things? I assume they're not enormous, right?
I bet they're astronomical.
You reckon?
I reckon, yeah.
So,
people make livings off it, so...
Magic the Gathering Worlds, I think, was 100k for first place. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a hard rule that they never give out any kind of monetary support for tournaments. The creator, who passed away a few years back, said because he's made the game for kids, he doesn't want ever to be considered as gambling. Therefore, you can only ever win prizes. You can win prize cards, you can win games consoles, you cannot win money.
I'm sorry, but that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, he's... that sounds like he just didn't want to pay. Sorry.
It's like we went to nationals, me and Sam, one year, and one of our friends actually won the unders, and I believe I can't remember if they actually won or they came second, but it was someone that we knew. Then they got like a Nintendo Wii, they got a bunch of other shit, but like no money.
That's like actual casinos in Japan aren't allowed to reward money for gambling. You have to, if you go to like a pachinko machine or a slot machine or anything like that, you win, I think you just like win points, and you trade those points for like tokens, and you can exchange those tokens outside of the premises for money.
You're describing premium currency.
Basically,
but like in real life.
Basically. It's really weird though, because you can't just pull a slot machine and win X amount of yen or whatever. You have to do this really weird like trade for trade to eventually get your money, because by doing it that way, it's not gambling for money somehow. I don't know, but it's really interesting. And that's that thing about Yu-Gi-Oh kind of reminded me about that. Just like can't win.
It's not money, but here's like 8 Wiis, and it's like, right, okay.
I mean, realistically, you can just take one step, right? Sell everything you've got and make a load of money. Because I think people were like, oh yeah, they estimated one of the prize cards was worth like 40,000. So it's like, well, yeah, if you know, nobody's totally going to sell it, because you wouldn't do that, right, guys? And it's like...
Well, it's like Will said, it's like, oh, here's your prize. It's like 15 Nintendo Wiis. Also, there's a guy outside buying Nintendo Wiis.
Yeah. We will totally buy that back off you for X amount of money. Did you see the One Ring Magic card was found and sold to Post Malone?
Yeah, for like
$2.3 million.
Insane. Yeah. I love that so much. I like this. I like the idea of. I always love it when celebrities just unveil like, you know, really niche or geeky hobbies that you wouldn't see other celebrities doing. Like the whole, is it like Henry Cavill being into Warhammer, and like Vin Diesel doing D&D and things like that?
Yeah.
Daniel Craig was a massive WoW fan as well.
Oh, was he? I didn't know that one.
Was he really? I didn't know that one. Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
Just imagine Daniel Craig ganking Henry Cavill.
I bet he was that piece of shit rogue. Can you imagine? He's like, you know, when they say like Henry Cavill, apparently Daniel Craig, whatever, and they always say like, yeah, I was super into WoW, and it's like he's the like asshole in the guild who's like taking all the loot and stuff. He's always causing drama.
That sounds like a YouTube video of Like, I can see the thumbnail of someone doing like a "oh my god" pog face, and the title was "I was ganked by Daniel Craig."
Daniel Craig's actually Tiny Violin. This is a game name.
All right, I'm gonna do the intro, and Scoots Long. I was gonna be talking about fucking card games for hours, which is fine, but I'll do the intro and get it rolling. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Game FourCast. This is our weekly gaming podcast where we get together and chat about what we've been playing and all the news for the week. My name is BottlerWorks, and I'm here with Olive Meister Will.
Hello.
Sammeh.
Hello.
And special guest, Tomatosaurs.
Hello.
Tomatosaurs is Matt. I'll probably call him Matt throughout this podcast. I'm sure he's a very, very good friend of ours. We had him here
Keep
before.
calling me Tomatosaurs.
We are incredibly bad at using like IGNs. Like we just call each other. It's like,
I just call Sam all the time.
Yeah.
What's
So
that?
we're on the internet. You know, you should probably have that like protect yourself thing, and we're just like, no, I am Sam. I live at X.
Yeah.
Like,
What was it? That game. I don't know if you've put it in news stories or whatever, but that game Palia has just launched into
the
like
MMO.
closed beta or something, and I got in, and I really thought this was the game where I was going to get in fast enough where I could just reserve the name Will, because I just can't be bothered with all this in-game name stuff. I just wanted Will.
I love that. It's funny coming off that, because obviously we've been talking about RuneScape necromancy, and the guy that hit level 120 and max XP in RuneScape, which is the guy with the account name It's Dave. I love that so much. It's just like no fancy names or anything like that. It's just, yeah, it's Dave. He's played for 4 days straight without sleeping, and he's won RuneScape.
I mean, if I ever thought of like who do I suspect of being a powerful necromancer, it would be the guy named Dave.
It's always Dave
from down the local. Yeah.
There's always a bigger fish, and it's always
he
Dave.
brings back the dead, does Dave?
Right, should we jump into the obvious one again? Baldur's Gate being a very long game. Do a bit more Baldur's Gate? Do a bit more Baldur's Gate. I'm going to give it straight to Matt, because you're also playing this, Matt. How have you been finding Baldur's Gate?
I have been finding it fantastic. I think it is. I was telling you this earlier, but I think for people that really like CRPGs, this is Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I think it is. It does everything, not like perfect, but like so close to perfect. Because CRPGs are usually split into like the two different camps, which is like the turn-based and the kind of real-time. Real-time CRPGs I've never really gotten on with, because they are a little bit all over the place. They're very hectic. You've got like, you know, your party of 6 fighting against like 30 hordes of goblins and shit all at once, and it's all a bit manic. I think there was a Pathfinder game recently that added a turn-based mode to it, and that was really, really well received. So for me, turn-based CRPG is like the best way to play CRPG.
Yeah.
And this is the closest thing, I think, to being the perfect version of that. It's very similar to Divinity, but Divinity had this problem. It had like 2 things that I didn't like in it. The first was that they had a talent or something called Lone Wolf, which was if you're on your own or have only one other party member,
I remember
you get
that,
extra action points.
Yeah.
And that it's not inherently a bad thing, but it incentivized playing with only 2 party members. But because of the way it was a little bit imbalanced, it ended up being a little bit better than having 4. So it felt like you've made the game easier while also disincentivizing engaging with a lot of the systems. And then the only other thing I didn't really like about it was enemies had a magic shield and an armor shield. And one blocks magic attacks, one blocks physical damage. So because of that, if you're hitting your opponent with both magic and physical, you're hitting 2 different armors.
Yeah.
So I
forgot about that.
Yeah, I always wanted to stack the same damage type, which then restricted my builds. I was like, I'm doing an all magic build or doing an all physical build. Now, that wasn't necessarily the best way to play, because some enemies had a lot of physical armor and a very small amount of magic armor, for example. So even if you are doing a shit ton of physical, it still would have been better to hit with some magical. But still, I was always like, if I want to play the game and not playing efficiently, I want to be playing with Lone Wolf and only have 2 characters, and I'm only going to do physical damage. So I kind of tunneled myself into this little small gap where I'm now stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because me and Erin did the same thing we're doing with BG3 as we did with Divinity. And we did the same thing where like she was like, oh, I'm going to make a wizard. And I was like, cool, I'm going to make a guy that hits things. And then like late game Divinity is like you initiate a combat, and it was like what are these guys good at? Oh, physical? All right, I'm going to go fucking make a sandwich. Good, have fun, Aaron. I'll see you in like 20 minutes. Or like you'd find the one guy that I can beat up, and then you'd have to watch Aaron do the rest of the combat.
It's a two-player game, but because you both cover each other's bases, there's only ever one of you playing at any point, and it's just wiping the field.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The other problem it had as well was because all of your like CC and status abilities would only affect them if that ability's shield had been depleted. So, for example, I couldn't like stun them with a physical attack unless all of their physical armor was gone. So it wasn't even like, I can CC them or you kill them with all your damage. It just becomes, I can't do anything till this armor is gone. So I'm just going to keep hitting them until that's gone.
Oh, that's so weird. I think I like repressed that memory because playing this it's very, at least thematically, I guess it's very Divinity. And it's sort of playing through this has made me think like, yeah, maybe I should go back and play Divinity 2. What's it called? Divinity Original Sin 2?
Yeah.
Which is still, by the way, a fantastic game. I do want to clue in.
Yeah. I still think Divinity Original Sin 2 is the best CRPG ever released until Baldur's Gate 3 came out.
Yeah.
Well, that's just
Which means now it is the second best.
Well, Larian are like one of the only studios making these games, right?
There's quite a few CRPGs still coming out. Owlcat is the one that makes Pathfinder and other stuff of that nature.
I guess I'm not really in this like sphere, right? I don't really hear about these sorts of games. I still feel like Baldur's Gate 3, just on its own, is at least it seems to be the first game that's really broken out and just has everyone talking about it, right?
It's got the Baldur's Gate name on it. It's the new Larian game. It's D&D, and I think especially 5th edition has become like this own thing. Like so many people play D&D. I feel like everyone and their mum has a D&D show like on Twitch or YouTube now.
Yeah,
like every single content creator seems to be dabbling in it. It's just so widespread at this point.
Well, we were saying about this last week about just D&D is everywhere now, even like big name movies and things like that. But I think I remember reading the D&D movie did really well. So it's like, it's like a proper. It was always a household name, right? But now, I guess it's more of a household name, if that makes sense. It's just like more popular than ever.
Yeah, I think Baldur's Gate was very popular, but Baldur's Gate 2 came out ages ago.
Yeah.
So it kind of became more niche as time went on.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate was always like that series I knew about but had never played, and I assumed it was lost to an older period of PC gaming.
Yeah.
Like it was never coming back, right? It's just like it exists in the back of my mind with other like point and click adventure games that have not gone anywhere now and things like that.
Well, especially because Wizards have been making video games recently, and I can't think of one that's been like very good. Like most of them have been bad, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Like, I don't have a big stake in this because I'm the only one here actively not playing it, right? But how far were you, Matt? Like specifically?
So I thought I hit Act 2 yesterday, but I didn't, because there was an area that I thought was Act 2, but then I got the achievement after going into a different area for starting Act 2, so I'm like, okay, I guess this is the real start of Act 2. So I've just started Act 2. I've kind of gone through Act 2 a little bit, and that's kind of where I'm at the moment. So I'm not like super, super deep. But I feel like I've thoroughly done Act 1. I feel like I know like so much about it. I know like every nook and cranny of it at this point.
Oh, you're one of those types of players? Like must explore everything before moving on?
Yeah, exploration for me is like one of the most fun parts of these games. I love finding little secrets. I love all the little like tips and tricks you can find to like navigate the world.
Yeah.
Because I think you'll never get your first playthrough back, right?
Yeah.
So already Baldur's Gate Act 1 is a little bit tainted because I did play in the pre-release. So I have already kind of gone through it, but there is a lot of changes. So I did get kind of a bit of a fresh experience. But rather than trying to like rush through it, I'm really trying to take my time with it. And I've been really enjoying it because of that, I think.
Yeah. It feels like one of those games where your final playtime can vary wildly based on what kind of player you are. Where you could just not like rush through, but if you're not so caring about the little nooks and crannies, you can get through a lot faster than someone that, say, wants to just see every single thing in every single corner. Because from what I've heard, there is like little secrets and fun things in every single corner.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard anyway. Like, I haven't played it.
Yeah, there's incredibly little dead space in this game.
Yeah.
You'll find something everywhere.
Yeah, well, because Sam, you're in Act 3 like me now, right? And it's like you always worry with Larian a little bit that they kind of take the foot off the pedal. Yeah, fall off a little bit later. But like all of Act 3 so far has just been there's a bit, right? I won't spoil anything, but there's a bit when the game is Baldur's Gate, right? And you don't go to Baldur's Gate until Act 3. And the whole way everyone's talking about like, oh, you want to go to Baldur's Gate? It's you're going to the big city and it's like, oh, it's exciting. I want to go in the big city. And then you get there and there's this like one of those big viaduct looking bridges with like, houses and stuff built on top of it. And that's the last thing to separate you between you and Baldur's Gate, like actually getting through the gate. And me and Aaron were like, we're here, finally, we're in the city. We just got across this one bridge. It took us about 10 hours just to get one end of that bridge. Yeah. So much stuff packed into that one area.
Big ass bridge.
Side quests, like multiple chain quests, ridiculous. It's insane. It's just getting more and more dense.
I had a really weird moment the other day. Well, I think you posted something similar in your Discord where you were like, "Oh yeah, doing really good, making our way through, nearly at Baldur's Gate." And I had this moment where it suddenly clicked that at no point in my mind was Baldur's Gate a place or a thing.
A place, yeah. No, yep.
I was like, wait, there's actually like a gate called Baldur's Gate? Like, I just assumed it was like, I don't know, anything else or nothing at all. I just like, oh, yeah.
I did exactly the same thing before Aaron told me off.
I had no clue.
It's so weird as well because whenever I look at my friends list, I've always got at least like 6 people at the moment playing Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah, everyone's playing this on my friends list at all times.
But because on Steam it lists where they are, it's like little mild spoilers. It's like this person's in the Shadowlands. I'm like, okay. It's like this person's in Baldur's Gate. I'm like, okay, well I'm going to Baldur's Gate at some point. That's good to know.
It's just like, yeah, how far is this person? Look at your Steam's friends list and it says like blah blah's funeral. You're like, oh.
That's what I'm worried about. Am I going to sneak it at
God damn it.
point? And it's going to be like, yeah, they're in the ninth layer of hell, which is quite funny as well, because sometimes I will look over and it'll be like on the Nautiloid in hell. And I'm like, okay, no, that's the very start of the game. That's fine. That's not a spoiler.
Yeah, it could be any point in the game, yeah.
The game also ends on the Nautiloid in hell.
I feel like that's my just default state in everyday life. It feels I'm just cruising along the ninth layer of hell at all points.
It's one of the coolest things playing a game like this is chatting to people, because I got this feeling originally, or that I could think of at the earliest, was when Skyrim came out, and I'd go into uni and I would chat to 7-8 different people, and they would all be playing Skyrim, and they would all talk about all the different things they did. Yeah. Oh, I went over here, I did this quest, I found this item, I did this, I met this person, blah, 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 blah. And then I got it again kind of when Fallout 4 came out. And again, we were all kind of talking, oh, I did this, I went over here, I interacted with this, oh, I never saw that, I did this. And now, again, in Baldur's Gate, it feels so good that I can talk to so many people. We're all playing the same game, but we've had radically different playthroughs.
Yeah, it's always fun when everyone's playing the same thing, but everyone's got different stories. And I think a game like this, where it's so... I'm not sure if like customizable is the right word, but things can change so drastically. It's always fun hearing about people, what they're up to. I had the same thing talking to people and just reading about Tears of the Kingdom when that came out, because that was similar in that you can do such weird shit in that game. I think there's a whole subreddit called I think it's called Hyrule Engineering. And it's just a subreddit full of people making the weirdest and most interesting shit in Tears of the Kingdom. I think some guy invented an airplane that generates infinite energy or something.
I saw like stories about that, of people working. They were trying to work out, because everything in Zelda has like a hard cap on like how far you can travel and how much energy you have. And they were like, yeah, people in the people in the Hyrule Engineers subreddit, they're working on perpetual motion engines and trying to. It's like,
so
Jesus
good.
Christ, guys!
I saw some guy
They're
made.
gonna crack it one day.
Some other guy again made like an airplane, but it actually had wings and flapped. So I'm not sure if that was like causing the flight, but it just looked really cool, like a bird flying through the air. And you like look at it, it's like he's using the rotator things on different elements and making it's so cool. And it's just like, yeah, when you have again something like Baldur's Gate, where it's just like D&D, right? Yeah, you can telekinesis anything or talk to whatever and this, that, and the other. You get all these different scenarios and situations that are so unique. Not like not unique just for you, maybe, but just at least amongst your friends.
Well, it's like I got my first legendary weapon. I won't say what it is or where I got it, but I got it in Act 1. And I sent it to all my friends I know are way further ahead than me. I say all my friends, sent it to the people that were in the call with me at the time. And I was like, oh, did you guys get this? And I think I got one guy back saying, yeah, I got that. And then the other two were like, what the fuck is that? Or like, oh, you got that as well? I didn't get that.
Spoilers, bro. They're at the end of the game.
It's so interesting how that can happen. Because there was another bit where I got to a certain point and I spoke to, let's call them a god, not quite. They're not necessarily a god. I spoke to a god-ish thing.
Yeah.
And I basically called it a loser, and then it instantly game overed me. Like, just straight away game over. They were like, how dare you, little twerp, and then dead. Just straight away game over.
I mean, if I ran into God in real life and called him a loser, I would probably also expect to just disappear from existence in a millisecond.
but that was the thing. So I told that to my friend Chris, and he was like, you did what? How did you do that? Where was that? And I'm like, oh, we're playing the game different, I guess.
You got, was it Dr. Manhattan at the end of Watchmen? Just like disintegrated, just waved his hand and you just explode.
Lick my balls.
I will say, I think that kind of like unique scenario-ness is starting to burst at the seams a little bit. Now I'm midway through Act 3.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of character. It feels like the end of their story, and it's like nothing happened. It feels like the game didn't account for my choices or something, because I got like a default ending for a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't even get like a cutscene or a dialogue. The game just treated them as if it was like,
oh no, Poochie died on the way back to his home planet.
Kind of what it was like. We went and talked to this character we've had lots of like dialogues with throughout the whole game, like a recurring character, and they were just like, all right, mate. And we were like, how are you here? And they were like, yeah, it's just how I'm just ended up here. Don't worry about it. And I was like, oh, okay, I get this person is just here now. And like, that's the only story I get. I think in general, Act 3 has been it's been a bit shaky.
Heavy information overload for me. I've had to take a break because, like, again, I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone wondering, but like, you get there and there's a lot of things you can do straight away.
Yeah,
lots of options, and then you're like, right, okay, we're starting to round these out. Let's go do the exploration bit. As you progress, and then it hits you with the, no, we ain't fucking around. You're in Baldur's Gate. And then you just go, oh god.
There's 6,000 NPCs you can talk to. 2,000 of them will give you a quest.
Specifically, Act 3 has been the chapter where something will happen. A character will crop up in a note or a dialogue, and Erin will go, and I'll be like, oh, wait, who was that? Wait, who are they talking about? And she'll be like, oh, the guy from Act 2. He's doing it. And I'm like, what? Did we kill him or what? I don't understand.
How dare you imply we killed him? Not Sir Duke of Archibald of the blah blah from Baldur's Gate 1.
Wait, how do you know that, Duke Archibald?
I see this
game. Oh, spoilers.
I'm assuming from what you're saying that Erin is the big Baldur's Gate fan.
Like she has played 1 and 2. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There are characters now cropping up from the previous Baldur's Gate games.
I've met
and
I mean, everyone's met. I think Matt hasn't yet. Maybe has.
Yeah, specifically a character. Yeah, she's called Jaheira. She was in Baldur's Gate 2 apparently, and she's
And
back in
one.
this, and one, and it's cool because like, you know, she's just an elf, so it's like it's been 1,000 years, but she's just back. It doesn't have to explain why they're here. It's quite
Quite a world of
you know,
literal
quite
magic as
neat.
well. It could be like use time travel magic. Oh, you know, I'm long lived. Oh, I went into stasis and now I'm here again.
Yeah.
Well,
They could literally pull whatever they want out of the butt.
Well, I don't know. I guess I can't. I won't spoil it in case people have. He's been in all the trailers, but there are that does happen.
The old man,
They
Kratos.
do. Old
Oh
man
yeah,
Kratos is
yeah,
it,
yeah. That was. I know what you're talking about because that was I know nothing about Baldur's Gate. I've not played one.
It's
2,
the thing
or
that people
3.
were most hyped of when the trailer dropped.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
anything about any of the 3 games, and then it was like a Game Awards trailer. I think we
Yeah.
all watched it together, and I think even I audibly were like, "Oh my god, it's Baldur's Gate, man!" It's like box art, man, or like man you see when you used to Google the names
Yeah,
of these
yeah.
games.
Um,
So, yeah.
so yeah, they do that.
What do you guys
Yeah,
think about? There's been a bit of discussion. I think IGN started it, like a big video that went popular about this game raising the bar for like RPGs and games in general, and some devs are like venting frustration, I guess, at like no one can keep up with this sort of level of detail and polish in their games.
I think it's really stupid. It's really stupid. The original guy, the original was just like an indie dev that was like, "Hey, I love Baldur's Gate, but like I'm always kind of worried when these big things come out."
Yeah.
And it's like it's tough for indie devs to keep up, which is like he's not wrong, but like was anybody? I just don't
I had this.
see the angle of like nobody comes to the indie games expecting Baldur's Gate level of like.
Yeah,
I thought the same thing where I
Quality, right?
saw that video and all that, because it's like, you know, you gotta not necessarily rage bait, but you gotta put out the big headline, right? And the headline being game devs are really worried they can't keep up with this. And I think there was like 2 tweets from 2 game devs that were like, "Oh, this game's pretty good. I can't make this."
yeah. But it's like I just don't. It's kind of weird because like Baldur's Gate is a fantastic game, but it's not doing anything especially new or innovative. It's just doing things that we've seen before. It's just made if they made another Baldur's Gate, but with like high production quality, and it's like Dragon Age was a thing, or Mass Effect was a thing, and it's just like you all just stop making those. It's not like it's raised the bar. It's just reminded everybody like, hey, remember how good we used to have it before everything was a live service game? Like,
reminded people of Mass Effect Andromeda was the problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I thought, and it's like I don't disagree with the sentiment, because there have been obviously some games that have come out and it's been like, oh god, this is awful, right? Like, this game should be better for what it is. But I feel like I guess I always take like the optimistic kind of mindset. I feel like people always focus on really bad recent games, forgetting that a lot of games have come out recently that have been really good.
Forgetting that we've changed our game of the year about 8 times.
Exactly.
This
Yeah.
year.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we're just saying, like Tears of the Kingdom has just come out, and is also another stellar game with no microtransactions or anything like that. But everyone always seems to focus on, I don't know, like Redfall bad or something. Yeah. And again, I'm not defending like big publishers, because I do think a lot of these games could and should be better. But I feel like you got to like, there will always be good games and there will always be bad games.
I think the other thing is as well, is I remember seeing the thing is like people trying to defend like some. I don't even know what they were trying to defend, because I don't understand the drama half the time. But like the Baldur's Gate people were like responding with like, they didn't get paid to make Baldur's Gate. They had to pay to make a Baldur's Gate game, you know? They didn't just get like a budget and a ton of funding and just gone, make us a Baldur's Gate game, go.
They had to like buy the license or whatever.
They had to buy the license, like they had to make it. It's not...
Yeah.
You know, Blizzard didn't just drop money or Wizards, should I just say? I was using Blizzard as an example. Wizards didn't just drop money and go, Divinity was good, do that, but Baldur's Gate, here's a blank check. It's like that didn't happen. Like, yes, it's a AAA game, but I'm pretty sure like I don't know how big Larian Studios is, but they're not the AAA of AAA. You know what I mean as well?
They're quite big, aren't they?
I think they got like 400 employees. Something like that.
They're not small. Yeah, that's all we can.
It's like
we can find this out very easily.
They're just very passionate. I think it really shows that they love the games that they make.
Yeah,
like that really comes across.
Yeah, I mean, going back to this, anyone that's played Baldur's Gate 3
employees
and played Divinity is sitting there going, it's definitely another Divinity game. But it's a bad thing. We all know it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, if they could just do this again in a couple of years, that'd be great.
Yeah,
fact, just like every 4 years, if they could just bring out a new Baldur's Gate game, I would be set for life.
Or they probably will now, right? Like, you can't have something released like this and then not want to follow it up.
Well,
somewhat
we're
soonish.
Expecting DLC. So this is something that also I think is a bit odd, right? Is people keep using feature complete to describe Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
And I get that because it does have everything in it. But the game caps at level 12, which I believe is common knowledge at this point.
Yeah.
When in D&D, your level cap's at 20. So, reading between the lines, we'll get DLC that will increase the level cap. If we're planning to get 2 DLC, it'll probably be up to 16, then up to 20. It's really weird to stop at 12.
I did read that from the devs that they decided on 12 as the cap because once you go past 12, you start bordering player character as OP.
I've heard that.
It's like
Dungeons
if mortal, it's like if mortal man is level 1 and God is 20, and it's like you have to stop somewhere along that and that chart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
12 is like a good
D&D campaigns.
point.
You can get to 20 and then actually fight God. That's a great spot to be.
That's fun with your friends, right? But I don't think they want to tackle because you already see skills and things in this where they've kind of tweaked it for a video game versus a tabletop game, and it's like once you start getting to you can just point at someone and kill them. It's like, well, what is the video game anymore at that point when you're everyone is that overpowered sort of thing.
It's at the same time, the enemies also get much stronger.
Yeah,
but when your abilities end up being like Will says, you point at a guy and he explodes. It doesn't make for riveting gameplay.
Yeah,
it's like every fight is
back to you as well. It's like, and I can understand it scales out of control and it's just hard to manage.
Yeah.
It's like every fight is that end of Superman, whatever Snyder's Superman, where it's just like they're just busting through skyscrapers and why am I killing goblins at this point? It's like everything I do levels cities.
It's the end of Dragon Ball Super, where Goku is now so infinitely strong and the opponent is so infinitely strong. They're just blurs in the sky fighting. It's
like how do you write a fetch quest for God?
you got people on the floor looking up, being like, "What's going on?" And they're just like, "I don't know, nor do I really care anymore because it's just so it's just so out of my perspective."
I still do fully expect this game to get DLC though, and I still do think they will increase the level cap to go along with it.
I think
we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah,
so it just seems so obvious that DLC would come for this game. It's done so well. It seems so simple to incorporate DLC. It just depends how they do it.
Yeah, because I always feel like when DLC comes out for games like this, it's either a completely separate side thing where
it's compartmentalized,
or it's like they try and they'll add a new companion, right? And they sort of slide in, but it's like there's an episode of this is a real pull, but there's an episode of Community where Jack Black shows up and they're all and he's like, yeah, I'm part of the group. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, that we're part of the group, remember? And then it cuts back to scenes from the previous season where they've awkwardly
I've seen that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Jack Black. He just adds one line of dialogue. And I can't remember which game it was. It might have been I want to say Fable, but I'm almost certain it wasn't Fable. But where that literally, it might have been Dragon Age, where it's you'll have your cutscene as it was normally, and then literally your DLC character is like, "Hey, I'm also here."
That was Dragon Age. I remember that. That was
it Dragon Age? Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you'd be Dragon Age. You'd have this DLC companion, and every so often they'd be like, "Hey, what's up?
Yeah,
I am here."
Yeah.
It's like,
So I think
okay,
they could do it. I just think it's like I don't think DLC is ever going to get to like. It's not going to be as good as the game is now. Like, I think the best you can hope for is like small side stories or something.
I love the idea
to add
of
on top of it,
like
but,
like you were saying earlier, not like something tied into the main game, but just like how D&D is. Do one really small side shot story where it's just here's all the mechanics you know.
The Fallout DLCs,
Yeah.
I feel, are the best way to do it.
Like, here's 4 new characters. Here's a campaign that lasts, I don't know, like 10 hours. You level up 2-3 times as fast or something. And it's just like, it costs 20 quid and it's just a dense new bit of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Maybe somehow tie it in, but don't explicitly bring that stuff in.
Am I mixing games up, or was Baldur's Gate the ones that said they're not going to do paid DLC?
I think I also read somewhere they said no DLC, no microtransactions.
Not no DLC and no paid DLC was what I think. I could be mixing that up with something else though.
The way I always see it is when a game performs like this, whether it's like insane sales or a Kickstarter going insane or anything like that, I feel like a lot of plans go out the window and things you rethink things, right? It's like, we said we were never going to do DLC or we were never going to do this. It's like, okay, that was before we made $10 trillion in revenue, right?
Yeah.
Like, things have changed.
I get that, yeah.
So I think ultimately you just have to wait and see, right? I assume nothing will come soon anyway.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking like years, probably.
It'll be a big deal. They'll make it like a whole new release. Like, remember Baldur's Gate 3? We won 50 million Game of the Year awards and everyone loved it. Here's a side story.
I know Divinity got like Game of the Year editions and stuff, but did it ever get like proper substantial DLC?
I have no clue.
I don't know. Updates because that game got wonky after Act 3 or at Act 3. And so they went back and kind of apologized for how Act 4 turned out and then did a lot of changes to it. Because I remember I got to the very end, I think it was spoilers for the very end of Divinity Original Sin 2. But you go through this whole thing, get through a bunch of crap, fight a bunch of bosses, and then you end up at like a pipes puzzle. And so you're just sat there like rotating tiles to make like the water flow where it needs to go. And I'm sort of like, why am I doing this? This is the only time I've ever had to do this in this game. And I'm doing it right at the final boss. And it just felt so weird. It just like tonally felt
I love the
off.
idea, like an intern in the offices whilst they're making Act 4 puts together some pipe mini game and they're like, James, that's fucking sick. we're gonna put
that's how we're closing this one out.
They're like, I can't believe you've made this. And he's like, oh no, why? And they're like, because it's amazing and we're gonna put it right at the end of our big RPG.
Right before the final boss fight.
Yeah. I remember hearing that about how I never finished Divinity Original Sin 2, but I heard that about how the ending is really wonky. That's why, not that specifically, but the reason I didn't get far in Divinity 2 is the reason I haven't played this. I think we were talking about it right before we went live, Matt, where our other friend Stewie is playing this, and you said, what's it you said? He said something like, yeah, I like it, but
he isn't playing it.
Oh, yeah.
He said he's not getting it because he would only put like 6 hours into it and then drop it.
Yeah. You said like his wording was like, oh, I like those games, but I only play them for 6 hours and drop it. And you were like, well, it sounds like you might not like those games then. And I guess I'm kind of like that as well. Where for some, like on paper, this looks amazing to me. And I love the idea of it.
You like the setting and everything.
Yeah.
And you want to like it. You want to play it. But you know that when you do,
it won't click. I'll just drop it. Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's not like TikTok brain or anything. It's just I don't know. It's just I can't stick with these games, which is really weird because I've played so many long form RPGs in the past. I've even played fucking Dungeons and Dragons for weeks and weeks and weeks with Matt here as the DM. But just this,
I will say though, 90% of the people that I've spoken to in my Discord about this game have all said exactly that, and they've said, "Oh, I just don't normally get into these kind of games," and then it's like, weeks later, and there's threads about which one's their favorite character, and oh, have you been to this part? Have you talked to this guy? Oh,
one day I will play it one day. It's like we were saying. It's like, I don't know. It's a good Christmassy game where I'm not at work. I'm on the sofa for long periods of time. Just stick on TV or something and just really get into it.
And it'll have a whole bunch of bug fixes by then, and will probably run a lot better. Yeah,
no more dicks clipping through trousers or something. I think I read somewhere.
Some people would call that a bug, not fix.
A feature, a bonus.
Yeah.
I do find it weird how much they want to put nudity in this game as well, which is really off-putting to me, because like I don't come to video games for that kind of content.
I've heard that as well. People saying this game is so horny. We didn't really touch it last week, this topic, but I've heard that a lot as well. Like just characters being like, "Hey, sup? You want to fuck?"
I sided with the only true correct choice at the start, which was I sided with the goblins, and we slaughtered all the disgusting druids. And then, as like quote unquote reward, the leader of the goblins, who was this drow chick, is like, "Yo, we're gonna do the dirty," and I'm like, "Okay." So like, and then so in Divinity Original Sin 2, there's another scene where again you sleep with a woman for a quest, or a man, or I don't think it matters. You can do whatever you want with it, but it fades to black. And then comes back and you're in your underwear. And that's kind of implied, right? And what I wasn't expecting was full nudity, everything on show, like motion capped sex scene. And I'm like, this is so out of place. This feels so weird. But
I heard that.
I then had a similar experience where one of my party members, who by the way isn't even in my party, they've been left at the camp and I never basically interact with them whatsoever, was just like, "Yeah, your scent like turns me on. I'm gonna bang you tonight." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, but then that one faded to black. And I was like, "Why do some of them fade to black and some of them not? What's going on here?"
Even the mocap actors need a break, Matt. You can't have to.
I'm just like, why? Right, because one of them is like, "Oh yeah, you have to side basically with the baddies. You have to like play the game in like a certain way, and then you get like rewarded with a full motion cap sex scene." And then it's like, yeah, but if you just hang out with the generic party members, it just fades to black. Like you could have just had both of them fade to black.
It seems like, I find it almost kind of comical, right? In the way that this game coming out, remember all the stories were like bare sex memes. Oh, isn't that funny? Also, by the way, this game's going to be so graphic. It's going to have sex everywhere. And then it's come out and it has those things. And people have been like talking about it. But it's like no one's going crazy, right? But I feel like every single game before this, when there's a shred of nudity or sex, everyone goes mad. It's like, people get angry. Remember Mass Effect having sex scenes? And it was like,
they showed a boob for like half a second.
There's nothing shown. I think there's like an ass, and it's two naked people hugging, and then it like cuts to black, and people lost their shit. But now, I guess it's just a different world, right? It's so long ago that was happened.
But during character customization, I had to choose my penis.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, there's that thing about streamers being shocked when they're streaming a game and they hit the hide clothes button and the person's naked. It's like
they fucking bait you though. I'm 100%. That's
of course
they did it on purpose, because it's like there's like a tab that's like body art, which you think is like full tattoo. Like, oh, I'm gonna tap my guy up, and then it's like hide clothes, and I'm like, well, obviously I need to hide my clothes because how am I going to see the tattoos otherwise? And you're just like, whoa, dragon dong in my case. Whoa.
Right, here's the question then: does your dragon dong look appropriately dragon dongy?
Oh no.
I am no expert in
science-based
dragon dongs. But it didn't stick out. Tucks in nicely in all my armor,
Does it look anything like? Let me bring it back up. Does it look anything like? This is very visual for the people listening. The Wiglet Pokey plush that I had
actually spot on. I thought you had attained screenshots of my character when I came in and saw that. Yeah. Actually, I kind of with you, Matt. Where like I'm not a prude. I don't nudity in any way whatsoever, but it does kind of feel like, I don't know, for all of like the big deal, it's like, oh, you can choose your junk and stuff, and then it's like every now and then you see some boobs, and it's like, okay, yeah, okay.
I'm not sure. I kind of feel
weird, right?
I kind of feel the same. Yeah, I'm not sure it's just because I'm 30 now. I'm not like 16 anymore or something.
Yeah,
but I'm just like I'm not a prude. Like fine, but like does it have to be in your face like every 2 seconds?
What's even funnier is like it's me and Aaron playing, obviously, and then whenever like a sex scene comes up, not that they come up very often, that's actually one thing I was going to mention, but it's like one of us will click something and then we both just sit there in silence like bagging. That's funny. We had a moment early on where we'd read all the news stories where it was like, Baldur's Gate 2 is so overwhelmingly horny, I wish all these people would stop coming on to me. And then there was a moment early on where we've like, me and Aaron have both picked like our party member, because it's 2 player characters that we've made, custom characters.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we're like picking like, oh, I quite like this person. And we were like, oh, so that we were like, oh, we're gonna sleep with them, yeah. And then it was like, you have this like moment at the end of like the midpoint of Act 1 where you have like a celebration because you've done something heroic, and we were like, oh, we're totally gonna get laid here, wait. And we were like walking around the party, like talking to everyone, and it was literally like we talked to every person at the party and completely struck out with everyone, and it was like, this game's not fucking horny at all.
That's the thing.
That's like the wrong side, Will.
This is like me at every uni party I ever went to, just striking up an NPC conversation with everyone there and striking out.
It's because they can smell the fucking desperation on you, bro. You're going.
It totally was.
As you go around like looking for it, they can smell it on you a mile away.
Yeah, I walked up to the demon-looking lady, and I was like, "Hey, nice axe," and she was like, "Absolutely not." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Hey, nice axe. Yeah, keep walking.
Yeah.
I miss her.
Yeah, I've heard that about the game, about people saying it's like massively horny, and other people saying like, I don't get it. So maybe it is a divide of some people just getting struck out without.
Yeah,
like,
maybe much
it.
like in real life, I'm just not cool enough to get invited to all those swinger parties.
Have you gone to the Baldur's Gate gym? Have you tried putting on some mass?
I haven't.
It's just, I go to this game and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be a wizard and I'm gonna have my 2-handed sword and kill some goblins. And oh god, there's a penis. It's like, I didn't come here for that, right? I came here for the fantasy.
You see, Matt, this is why all the NPCs want to bang you, because you've got clear drive, you've got purpose. Like you're clearly
you've got
your head on your shoulders. You don't care, and that's why they all want you.
I was talking to one of our friends, Chris, and I was like, I basically said the same thing, and he was like, yeah, I've been in a few foursomes. I'm like, okay. Just drop that, yeah. Okay.
Cool, bro. Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. Everyone wants me. Yeah. In Baldur's Gate. That's funny. Okay, I'm going to push this along, but any final anecdotes or funnies people want to get out about Baldur's Gate before I push it along?
No,
it's a really good game.
Baldur's Gate is really good.
Really good game.
Baldur's Gate good.
Okay, well, I'll chuck this along them. I know I'm gonna chuck it to you, Will, because I know you played something else this week. Is there anything that you've checked out?
Oh god, I had a moment there where I was like, I did. Yeah, I played Viewfinder at your recommendation, basically.
Yeah, I liked you play this.
It was good.
I love this game so much. I think it's so clever.
Yeah, Viewfinder, the little indie puzzle game where you're basically manipulating photos to copy and paste objects in real life.
I never thought about that, but you're right. Yeah, like copy paste stuff.
Yeah, and just like playing with perspective and stuff. Sometimes you'll find things that are like, oh, if you make these boards line up in a certain way, it's like, oh, that's the next bit of the level. It just appears. And I had a lot of. It's one of those things where you see like one GIF of how it works, and you're like, I bet that's a good puzzle game, and it was, and I really enjoyed it. The only thing is, I think they got really good. I felt like the game was getting onto like a really good brain teasery part, and then it ended, and because there were the whole game, I think I got properly stumped like once and like minorly stumped like 2 or 3 times, and that was it. And I really felt like by the end, where they started mixing concepts, it's mixing, because every level is like a different. They'll be like, this is where you take photos of stuff, and this is the one where we mess with like color theory and stuff like that. And it felt like right at the end they start mixing those concepts together instead of keeping them separate. And it was like, I was like, oh, I'm so ready to go. And then it was like credits, and I was like,
yeah, I feel like
I wanted some. Come on.
I get like an indie game, eventually has to come out if they need to make the money back, right? Like you can't just make a game forever if you're indie studio.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I feel like it has a good amount of content there just for that purpose. But I do get what you mean, where I don't think it needed any more mechanics or ideas, but I would have just liked more, I think, of what was there. Yeah. There was there's a bit really early on where I think it just showed it in the video that's playing, where it goes kind of like there's different filters. It goes kind of retro-y and like a dungeon kind of thing, and there's always different filters. I think they could have played with that part a bit more. They kind of feel like Easter eggs as opposed to and it's like, and every time they introduce a new mechanic, like there's a mechanic late game where for all this like taking pictures and pasting stuff into the world, they introduce this like dull kind of block that's like, this ignores everything that you try and do. It's like, and they'll put like cages around stuff, and you have to try and like figure out. And I felt like I was like, oh, this is like the secret. This is like the secret sauce to this puzzle game that's really like gonna push it to the to like Portal levels of puzzle design. And then it just like it just ended. It just stopped right there, and I was like, oh, you just got really clever for a second there. They give you the camera at the end, which creates like a black hole when you take pictures. So you can't. It's like, as opposed to copy and pasting, it's like cut and pasting. And I really like that. I thought it was really cool. And then I think there's like 3 levels, maybe 4 that use it. And it kind of feels like, the more I think about it, it feels like Portal 1 to Portal 2, where Portal 1 was like, here's this really solid idea and some levels, some test chambers, and like a cool story wrapped around it. And then Portal 2 was when they kind of went, okay, let's make a like 12-hour long game.
Let's go crazy with it. Yeah, that's true.
So maybe now that the tech is here, hopefully they make enough in sales to maybe just go into like level creation mode and just make a whole bunch
really
of stuff.
Hard to make. Like just like thinking about them and then like having to test them, make sure like they're not like super breakable. Although I don't know if this game cares too much about them being breakable.
No, it doesn't. It lets you go wild. It gives you a rewind specifically because you can just fuck yourself so quickly. It's like, take picture of sky, point camera at ground, paste sky below you, and then just fall to your death. And it's like,
there were certain levels in this where I got to the end, like Portal, to complete the level, and I was like, oh, okay, don't know about that. That was a bit janky, but we got there.
It's like the goal like teleporter is at like a 45-degree angle.
I was going to
say,
like
out of what looks like a failed Unreal Engine project. I'm like, oh, barely hung on there.
I'm free falling through the sky, pasting a picture at, like you say, like a transporter at like 45 degrees, man, like try and just escape.
Well, it's like I said in your stream, Will, that I would love to see what the speedrun of this game looks like. Because I bet it's insane.
Yeah. I think this would be a really fun category at like SGDQ or something. Yeah.
Part of me is like, you'll be done in 3.5 minutes.
It's one of those things where
I'm just gonna...
I bet the levels are like, here's what you're supposed to do, but if I stand here and take this specific picture, I can just about capture the edge of the teleporter. And
There was a couple puzzles where I was like, I don't think I was supposed to do it like that. But I think that's like the mark of a good puzzle game, though, right? Is when it gives you, it's like, hey, just go nuts. We don't care if you just fuck around and solve it in your own way. That's fine.
You can break it, but it never feels broken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like Matt said, I can't imagine. Just get that tattoo. But like Matt said, I can't imagine how difficult it is to, especially because like if you're making the game and you're so like intimate with its systems and stuff like that, I can't imagine being, well, how do I design a puzzle to like new people coming in
I've heard that before.
Must be so difficult.
I think there was some Game Makers Toolkit stuff, and because he's making a puzzle game, very big YouTube channel for people listening, and like some other stuff I've read as well, where people make puzzle games, like code the game, code whatever platform and whatever elements are in it, and they live in the systems for so long that they then make puzzles, and then they give it out to play testers, and people are like, "This is so hard. Like, what the fuck? I don't know what I'm doing." And again, it's because you live in this for so long. It's like, oh, of course you just do this, because you've played the level.
So you'll make you find it really easy and be like, well, people aren't going to engage with this. This is really easy.
Yeah.
But
it must be so difficult.
I would argue that puzzle creation is probably one of the hardest things you can do. Just like in terms of game making generally. Like I get that art and programming and hard is hard. But just like the idea of sitting down and just designing puzzles to me just seems crazy. I don't even know where to start with these things.
Like threading the needle between being way too easy and way too frustratingly hard. Just getting that sweet spot of making a really compelling puzzle. Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. What did you think of the story of this game?
I don't know, indie game story. Yeah. I was sad at the end. No spoilers. I was sad at the end, but that's just that's not fair. They put a cute cat in the game, and it's an indie game, and I was like, this is not going to end well, is it? I know it. But I thought the voice acting was good. There's lots of fun little notes everywhere from people who lived in these spaces before you. So I thought it was okay. I think it's like you said when you played it originally. It was like it's nice that it's there, but I could have done. It didn't need to be there. I just wanted fun. Photograph puzzles.
I completely disconnected from the story by the end of this game.
Yeah.
I think your reaction to the cat character and this, that, and the other. I don't think I even had that. I was just like, I do not really care anymore. I just
you're a monster. So.
I am a monster. That is true. I think I said when I spoke about it that I think this game could have just had a menu with a level select, and I would have gotten just as much fun out of it. Which I don't know. I feels kind of harsh, but I don't think that takes away from what the game is, which is amazing in my opinion.
I think maybe I don't. Maybe it needed more because there's a bit right at the beginning where it sort of glitches out, and then you head to the real world in air quotes. And maybe I could have done a bit more of that to get more invested, because it was kind of where it's all notes and sticky notes and
it's like the old BioShock audio logs and stuff.
Yeah, I could have done with more. Well, I guess there is some of that with the gramophones, but
that's what I mean. That's I don't think that's just to discredit this game. When I play something like BioShock or any other big, really good AAA game, I just don't get on with audio logs or look at a computer to read things or
I mean, I don't know. If on another day I might have been in the mood for it.
Maybe
gotten into it, but I wasn't. It didn't click with me especially. But it also wasn't in your face the entire time, getting in the way of a really fun puzzle game. So it didn't really bother me.
Yeah, I'm glad you played it.
I'm glad I played it. It's cool. I want to do. I need more puzzle games. Someone turned me on to Superliminal. I need to check that out.
That game's great. That's on Game Pass as well, I think.
Is it excellent? I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't even have to go e-begging for a key then.
Please, my lord, can I have a key? Look at all these Twitch followers. No, I think. God, is Superliminal better? I think Superliminal might be a little bit better than this. They're both great games, but I really like Superliminal. Do you know the hook behind that?
It's like playing with. It's like playing with perspective, right?
It's like you use both your eyes to gauge how far away something is, right? Imagine having one eye closed and then holding something really close to your open eye, right? It looks massive, and it plays with that. It's like you'll pick up a tiny chess piece off the floor, and then it'll go in front of the camera, and then wherever you place it, it takes the size in that space you've placed it, so it suddenly becomes massive.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's a really fun game. It's also, I don't like the curse of these sorts of games. It's also very short, like this, because because they have.
That's good though.
Yeah.
I think me. Like I said, I could have gone on longer with this one, but like, maybe I didn't click with it, and I could have. Maybe I could have not liked it longer. So, like,
Yeah,
it's tricky, isn't it? Like, I feel like this had more in it, but at the same time, I guess leaving me wanting more puzzles is like a good thing to do.
Yeah. Well, everyone loves a good puzzle game.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We'll chuck it along then. Matt, have you, besides obviously shit on Baldur's Gate, anything you want to talk about?
Well, Baldur's Gate's been what's taken up most of my time.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have grinded up a whole new Duel Links account all the way up to 9999 gems because the new world was announced, which is Seven's World, which is Rush Duel. So I know a lot of people here aren't going to really know what that means, but basically Rush Duel is like a spin-off game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the current anime season, which I believe is now on Disney, I want to say. If it's
really?
not Disney, it's on something similar. But that is all now Rush Duels, which is like a different game. And that is now coming to Duel Links. And over in the West, we don't have a physical release of that game. And we only have one of the 2 video games that was released in Japan, which means this is going to be the only official way to actually play Rush Duel as an English-speaking player.
There was quite recently, maybe it was I've lost track of time. There was the last big Yu-Gi-Oh game got quite a lot of buzz around its launch.
Yeah, Master Duel.
That Master Duel, what is that? Is that still?
So yeah, Master Duel is still very big. Obviously, it had a massive boom when it first came out. I think it was in like the top. I can't remember if it was like the top game on Steam for like a week. It was something stupid. Like it got ridiculously massive influx, almost like Classic WoW when that first came out. People were all jumping on it. Then people played it for a bit and went, "Wait a minute, this guy's flipped over 6 floodgates and I can't play the game." Or wait a minute, I'm trying to normal summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon and my opponent is dropping all of these crazy bullshit interrupts constantly and I can't actually play the game. And they realized they didn't actually want modern Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, Master Duel is the really big one, and this is the one that stole a lot of players from Duel Links, which was the mobile game. So Duel Links is like the mobile spin-off speed duel version of Yu-Gi-Oh, which has skills and follows the anime a lot more closely. And Master Duel is an actual simulator to play the physical card game.
Yeah, it's like Duel Links is like for Yu-Gi-Oh players that smoke.
Oh, okay. Wait, give me a minute.
And wear leather jackets.
Let me unpack that. I need a minute. Because that's always, as someone that is not into Yu-Gi-Oh in the slightest, that's what always throws me around. Where it always feels like at one go there's like 5 different versions of Yu-Gi-Oh running around at the same time.
It's weird. So Yu-Gi-Oh has one format, which is called TCG, and then there's the Japanese format, which is called OCG, but we won't dive into that. There's like the physical card game. Then there's only one other type of physical game that's released everywhere, and that's called Speed Duel. And Speed Duel is like a copy of Duel Links, but Duel Links is a mobile game. But so game-wise, it's basically just Master Duel and Duel Links now, right? That's the video games. Right. And again, Rush Duel, which a lot of people want as their own separate game, is just going to get stuck onto Duel Links. And I think the main reason for that is they just put out a game called Cross Duel about a year ago, that game has already shut down because it did so badly. And it was its own like thing. It was its own game completely, so it wasn't like the other 2.
Was that also a mobile game, or was that?
It was also a mobile game.
Yeah.
And it had a horrendous problem where if you played it, your battery on your phone would go dead in about 2 hours because they had to fully animate 3D everything in that game for no reason.
I love it.
That is what I come to card games for. Yeah.
That reminds me of like when I used to play. I think it was like Genshin Impact or something on my phone. I was like, oh my god, this runs on my phone, and my phone dies in like 2 hours.
And it's like hotter than the sun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited for Rush Duel. I play a lot of Rush Duel on my YouTube channel, so
plug it.
Doing that,
I'll do it for you.
YouTube,
it's
Tomatosaurs.
Yeah, Tomatosaurs on YouTube. You put out tons of really cool Yu-Gi-Oh stuff all the time.
Yeah, but the takeaway is that all of the content on there is all on an unofficial emulator. So now there will be an official place to actually play the game, which I think is really, really cool. It's going to look a lot nicer. Theoretically, it should play a lot nicer.
Yeah. You play with... what one do you play with Sam and Alex?
Yeah. So with Sam, I play regular Yu-Gi-Oh. With Alex, I play Rush Duel,
Right.
which is on an emulator called EDO Pro. But there's a bunch of different emulators. That's one thing Yu-Gi-Oh does have going for it, is there are so many different ways to play it for free. You can play EDO Pro. There's one called Dueling Nexus, and there's Dueling Book, one of which is in browser. So like there is a lot of ways to play that game for free, whereas a lot of the other card games, it's a lot harder, or their emulators kind of suck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like if I went to go play against, say, like Pokemon TCG, I would go straight to the official client first.
Yep.
Which has similar to other card games, right? Like paid boosters, expansions, this, that, and the other. Whereas, like you say, I assume all these emulators, it's just here are all the cards, just play Yu-Gi-Oh!
You just have everything. They're not monetized at all, which is because that's the thing. Me and a bunch of other guys, including Sam, we're going to do a like Pokemon progression thing where we go through starting from the first original base set of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Use a simulator to open up some packs, build decks out of it, and then play through. But there is no good way to do that. There is just no good emulator to play the Pokemon trading card game.
That sucks.
Like you just,
yeah,
it's like just play the official one, which basically just has most of the modern cards in it.
Yeah.
And you have to pay money to play it effectively, or you have to grind all the daily missions to get the currency to actually keep up with the cards. Which it makes sense, right? A lot of the time, why should you be able to have access to this whole card game for free?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like I'm not like begrudging that, but I'm just saying by comparison, it's really nice that in Yu-Gi-Oh I can do that.
Yeah, it's hard to have something like Yu-Gi-Oh as your baseline, where it's all available to then go to, like you say, anything else. It's like, oh, you can't just jump in. You have to like grind it all out or pay up, or which again is fine, but that's not what you're used to.
Yeah, I mean, it limits you to how you can play it, right? If you have access to everything at all times, you can do fun little challenges, you can do some gimmicky decks, you can do this, that, and everything else. If I'm paying for every pack I'm getting, all of a sudden I'm like, no, I don't want to play that really stupid archetype that would be shit most of the time, because why would I waste my money on that,
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's cool, though.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
And that's like your main thing on your YouTube? Your YouTube's been doing really well recently. It's really cool to see. You've been getting quite a lot of more views compared to what you normally get, which is always cool.
I think a big part of that is because, again, this announcement happened. So I'm making some videos about it, like stuff you can do to prepare for it coming out. A bit of speculation on what it's going to be, because we still don't have all of the details yet. We don't know exactly how it's going to work. But it has been cool that both me, Alex, and our friend Greg have all been grinding Duel Links recently to get ready for the big release, which we're all looking forward to.
Exciting stuff. Well, as we said earlier, check out Tomatosaurs on YouTube. It's all really cool stuff. I always put them on and just like listen to them in the background. I have no clue half the time what's really going on, but they're always fun to have on in the background. So, all right, Sam, you're last up. Is there anything again outside of Baldur's Gate that you've been checking out?
I mean, I've actually played very little Baldur's Gate this week. I've just been consumed by RuneScape 3, man. I see
like Bluntcast like streaming. You're like in the chat, like, oh yeah, I love RuneScape, and then like RuneScape, like you've gone hard.
I don't know what it is. Like, so it's the thing which whenever someone talks about RuneScape, and especially like you guys who said you're starting to fall off
a little bit.
I think in this game you have to have a goal. You can't just play this game. You need to be working towards something, I feel. Otherwise, you do just drop off.
I do have
because
that.
You're like, why am I playing this game?
My goal with RuneScape 3 is the same as my goal that I had with Old School, which is QuestCape. It's always the QuestCape. Yeah. Like that is my goal. And I feel like sometimes the reason I fall off, maybe because even as a goal, that is a gigantic goal. That is like 1,000 hours of gameplay or something.
And you're trying to do it in timeline order as well, which I think like is nice to do.
Yeah.
But I think is hampering your fun because you're still going through stuff you've already done before.
Yeah. Timeline order basically is all the stories by as close as they can make sense, sort of story wise. But what that tends to usually mean is because the story comes out more or less chronologically, one after the other. I'm doing all the old school RuneScape quests again that I've already just done.
Nothing wrong with
it. Oh my god, it's a sickness.
It is a sickness. Obviously, with the release of Necromancy,
yes,
I set that as like my short-term goal was to just do that essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm almost 80 necromancy, so like,
damn, you're getting there.
no, I'm not there yet, but 80 is still like high enough to do quite a couple of bits with it.
Well, max is 120, so you're 2/3 of the way there, right?
Yeah, that's how that works.
That's not how that works.
And then I unlocked Prifdinus, which is like it's like the end game city where it's got like just everything you could pretty much ever want.
Yeah,
So that's-
didn't you?
So that's still endgame in RuneScape 3, because I know it's endgame in old school.
I mean, if you asked anyone who's actual like a maxed PVMer, it's probably dead content
Yeah.
because of how long ago it was out. But it is a hub for almost every skill in the game. It's where you can still craft most of the end game stuff.
Yeah.
Like all the skills, all the materials that all the skills use stuff that you get from there.
Right.
Like it is still, like you could say that the fort is now the end game place because it's the newest thing made.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just the newest. You know?
Because I haven't got any other big hubs in RuneScape 3, but I've just started making the fort, which is basically it's like player-owned garrison, right? You take a shitty piece of land and make it your own castle. And when I started making that,
use the G word.
Yeah, the WoW garrison. But yeah, I made that, and then the hub, like the first thing you make is like, here's a bank chest with smithing next to it and wood crafting next to it, and invention. And I was like, everything is just here. What the fuck? And I think that's like you say, it's just because if you're going to introduce new content for people that have been playing the game for 20 years, it's got to have most of these things close to it, because otherwise they just won't engage with it.
So that was cool. I actually finished off my fort. I think I finished it today, but I did most of it over the week.
Oh, tier 3 everything.
Because so I've got 3 buildings at tier 2 because you need 90 plus construction. I don't have that.
Yeah, it's expensive.
A lot of my skills are like 80, between 80 and 90. So I'm on the verge of end game.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite there yet. But because of that, I have just a lot of short-term goals that I can just hook onto. Yeah. Which I think is why I'm so ingrained.
I think all our previous discussions, we were kind of like, oh, this game is really quick. Look at all the XP we're getting. We're like combat insane XP. Da, da, da. But when you take away a lot of double XP sessions and this other stuff, it's still RuneScape. It still takes a very long time to do most things.
But it also, for me, it makes double XP something to look forward to.
It makes it more valuable. It gives you context.
Those items that you use that like allow you to train quickly, which is why people save them for double XP. I'm now like, right, which ones of these do I want? Which skill do I just not bother leveling up? I'll wait for double EXP because it's just going to take too long if I don't do it there. How can I be more efficient? And I love that like, how can I be more efficient is what gets me, because I love that.
Yeah, I had that. I've stopped now. I've officially taken a break, but I had that with Star Rail for the longest time. That's what kept me playing Star Rail for as long as I did, which was like min-maxing these odd stats and how can I efficiently use my energy to get what I want as quickly as, like, in the shortest amount of days and things like that. And that's what kept me going in that. So I do get that. I understand that, because you were saying, kind of where you said it, but you were saying how you were on the cusp of making a spreadsheet and stuff.
To
maximize.
I have started that. I've started it.
Yeah, because I have the Star Rail spreadsheet. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. It's just like, you end up trying to keep track of so many little things. It's like, well, I have to, might as well make a spreadsheet. Fuck it. Get open the Google Sheets.
I can just get it to do all the calculations for me. And then I'll know when I get round to doing that thing, I need X amount. Yeah. So I don't waste getting too many or don't have too few, and I have the right amount that I want. That's the goal.
It's interesting, because I feel like a lot of people would be like, that doesn't sound like fun. But I think
I love spreadsheets.
But to someone like you or me, if we're into it, like, that is the fun.
Yeah.
It's planning and making sure everything fits perfectly, and then over time watching those plans come to fruition almost perfectly.
Love it when a good plan comes together.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, RuneScape is so unique as an MMO, I feel, because of just the way that all of its systems interact with each other and how you can do all these different things that can interconnect with one another.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of other games, I feel like, don't have that, right? They very much treat things like skilling and combat stats completely different. Like WoW and its professions, where you can only choose 2 of them. And a lot of other games are more rigid in how you approach them. It's like, I'll go to this area, finish it, then go to the next area, finish that, and then go to the next area, finish that. RuneScape very much doesn't work like that. And because of that, it lets it be a lot more open, which lets you do things kind of however you want. Like, as like what Sam was saying, he's leveling up his necromancy. But if you get bored doing that, you can go and do something else.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about this as well, is even though there is so much, like, quote-unquote dead content, because the game is so old, it's still interesting. It's still...
it's dead for the people that have been doing it for years. For me, it's very much content to look forward to.
Yeah, because
like yesterday, I got there's a guy that daily gives you a quest to go and kill a boss. And half the time he gives me a boss I cannot kill. So I basically re-roll it. And it gave me a boss that I didn't think I could kill, but like the guides kept saying I had the stats to do it, but I didn't really think I could do it. So I just went and did it. And it took me probably about half an hour, if that, to kill this boss 11 times. But I got a drop that sold for 66 mil.
Yeah, and I like that, and I like that kind of mindset of a boss that's been out for a decade, and it's like, why would you want to do that? It's dead content. It's like, because it's fucking cool. It's a cool looking boss that I just want to kill, even if it's just once, because that's the game, right? It's like not wanting to do, it's like I'm trying to think of how to explain it, like WoW raids and stuff. I used to always enjoy going back to really old WoW raids that you could go in on your own and just like, slam the bosses down in 2 seconds on your own when it was for like, 20 people before. Yeah. Because it was cool to see bosses from content that I missed because I didn't play at the time. It's cool. It's cool to see all the art and animations and stories, and you
still get to experience it.
Exactly.
You just don't have to experience it the same way as everyone else did, but you still get to experience it nonetheless.
Yeah, and that's why RuneScape is kind of the forever game if you want it to be, because there is literally so much stuff like that.
Yeah.
Plus, there's so much you can do in it, right? Like, there are so many different challenges you can self-impose, like Iron Man, or you could do like area restricted, like what was it, Settled's done. People level up new accounts for like PvP related things, at least in old school. I don't know if PvP is that big in RuneScape 3.
I don't know. No. I'm going to say no. But
I assume there's still people that do it, right?
Yeah.
I assume it's not completely dead.
It's not massive.
It's dead because you have to opt in to do PvP. If you don't opt in, you can't be PvP'd.
Yeah. And that kind of kills it by default. Because I kind of like it, but also I do think it's kind of sad because it kind of kills... Yeah, it does kind of kill the PvP a little bit, but I think...
It's like in World of Warcraft as well. As soon as they introduced War Mode, I feel like PvP turned from, occasionally you're going to have a nice little scrap, to, well, now the only people with War Mode turned on are like 10-man gank squads going around together.
Yeah.
And so that kind of killed world PvP for me at the very least.
I kind of feel like PvP being turned off by default shouldn't kill the PvP, provided the player base is big enough and the PvP is engaging enough. That might be like a kind of like a side slap to RuneScape, saying that the PvP is not very good. I don't know.
Where you have to, for the PvPers, they don't, like, I guess you could say they just want to fight other PvPers.
Yeah.
But I don't think they do. I think they want to hunt down the active person.
They want to kill PVMers who've got a load of risk on them.
So you then have to give them, the PVMers, you have to give them a reward for being PvP enabled.
Yeah, and this is the balance that old school is still doing to this day.
And it's like, at the end of the day, you can just turn around and go, well, we're just not a PvP game then. Like, there's nothing wrong. You don't have to have PvP.
No, yeah.
It's just I think people have a lot of nostalgia for it and expect it.
Yeah. For the longest time,
my nostalgia of running through the wildy ganking people and then going and play like a couple rounds of Castle Wars after. That's my nostalgia for RuneScape.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the longest time, FF14 either I can't remember if it didn't have PvP or the PvP was just so shocking that no one engaged with it. I think it's better these days, but I kind of think of it the same way I think of RuneScape 3, where I'm like, PvP is there. It's just not the core. It's not like a massive core focus. Whereas when I think of maybe not WoW these days, but when I think of like older WoW, somewhere between classic and where we are now, I think of like I remember seeing esports for like WoW, like 1v1s, 2v2s, things like that. And I remember that being a big part of WoW, like and the big battlegrounds and things in WoW as well. Like PvP was a big part of that game.
If you go into Stranglethorn Vale and don't get like Vietnam flashbacks, something's gone wrong, or you didn't have the right WoW experience growing up.
I didn't. I came to WoW very late.
Oh, mate, I still remember walking through those jungles, or
getting all the flashbacks,
or getting camped.
But yeah, what's your current goal in RuneScape?
I have, after finishing my 4, today I unlocked Invention, which is the elite skill.
Whole new skill.
Ooh.
So
the skill that like no one seems to know how to do or use, but it's there as a whole skill.
Yeah, the guides are actually quite comprehensive. Of like, okay, you want to do this tutorial, and then from that you want to go buy 2 of these, and then go do this, and then once they get to this stage, you break them down. Bang, you're level 27. So now you can do this. So the leveling guides are there, but it's like whenever I was saying, I'm fighting bosses or trying to fight new bosses to try and discover what can I kill, what can't I kill, what is worth it, what isn't worth it. And every single one is like, yeah, you need like 86 invention or 90 invention because you get these perks that does this damage or massive AoE or this, that, the other. And it's like, I don't have that, so I guess that's something I look forward to. But yeah, I'm working towards that. I'm trying out this new skill, which this new skill as well is just you enhance a weapon. Now go use that weapon and level that weapon up. So it's basically what I'm doing is I'm doing Slayer.
Yeah.
And then you get to do a little crafting mini game once you've unlocked levels, but you've also got to break things down to get materials.
Yeah, like disassembly and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's weird. I'm not too far into it, but it's basically, hey, just go kill things, which is very easy to do at the moment.
Can you get as far as you can this week and tell me about it next week? About your experience?
Yeah. I mean, I intend to keep going with this. So, invention is on the cards for me. My goals is invention, and I think I want to wrap up. I'm 4 quest points off 300. I think I want to start working towards. There's a quest called The World Wakes.
Oh, that's the big starts off the 6th age or something. Yeah,
it's like the quest that starts off the actual story of like what's actually going on.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But it had it doesn't have requirements, but it gives rewards that you can't get unless you've got like 80 or 90 combat.
Oh, okay.
So now that I've got all those stat requirements, I can get all those rewards, and it also includes like skills and stuff.
Yeah.
So the goal is basically to get all the quest requirements for that.
Yeah.
But I've just got a new skill, so I'm doing new skill.
Lots to do, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plenty to do.
All right, let's chuck it along to some news. I mentioned earlier it's been a bit of a quieter news week, really. I feel like there's a couple of... They're not getting necessarily like new news stories, more so continuations of stuff we've kind of spoke about in the past. You'll see what I mean when I bring them up. But we'll go through and see what we've got. The first one that I found I thought was really good. This was about the Pokemon company. So we talk about Pokemon today, like trading cards and stuff, but I think it's kind of a universally agreed opinion that Scarlet and Violet, the newer games, I guess, just like aren't acceptable in terms of their quality. For anyone that doesn't remember or missed this when they came out, Scarlet and Violet are the newest Pokemon games. They came out and sold ridiculous amounts. I think they've sold within like the tens of millions. It's like insane.
Yeah, I mean the games themselves are great.
Yeah,
like, fantastic.
But technically, they had massive issues. They looked terribly. They looked terrible. They ran terribly. Bugs everywhere. Just stuff that people rightfully, I think, expected better of from games that make this much money. So supposedly, from this article here, and it's kind of been going around a bit, internally there's now having conversations about, as fan complaints get louder and louder, despite people buying it, they can't really carry on this way.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned it before about how when something goes really wrong with a game's release, it's not that game that gets affected. It's the following games.
Yeah.
So, if Cyberpunk was so shit on launch, why did it sell so much? It's like, well, it's not that one. It's the following game where we met with more skepticism. And that's going to happen at some point with Pokemon. It will always sell, shitloads. I don't think that will ever change.
Yeah.
But...
It's that trap, though, right? It's like we moan and moan and moan, and enough time passes, a new Pokemon game comes out, and then we all go and buy
it. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you not think Pokemon is like an exception to that rule, where it doesn't seem to, like, it seems like they're almost trying to put out as scuffed game as they can, and people still sells billions of copies.
I don't know.
Especially
because...
weird as well.
Yeah, you go.
Because I remember when Sword and Shield came out, there was, again, not necessarily talks about the performance, but there were a lot of talks about how it was like the worst Pokemon game ever.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Wild Zone especially, people were like, it's a cool idea executed.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, the Wild Zones in Sword and Shield were like the taste of open world Pokemon, and they ran so badly.
And like the map itself was like garbage. It was so small. Like the gym leaders were like okay, but like nothing special. There was way too much talking in those games. Like for such a simple game like Pokemon, at least when you're playing it casually, there was so much like mash X, mash X, mash X, mash X, and just nothing being said for so long.
Yeah.
I remember after that, because that game as well, I think was like the top selling Pokemon game of all time when it came out.
Yeah.
We were like, I really hope they don't look at these sales figures and just make this again, because that's going to suck. And then when they actually released Scarlet and Violet, I was like, all right, this is so much better. This is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Just again, performance-wise, kind of terrible. A lot of the design decisions in Scarlet and Violet, again, not great. Like, I really think that game needed scaling, right? Like, just depending on which gym you've beat, now all the other things get stronger in the world, or something along those lines. But far from perfect, but definitely a step in the right direction. And again, performance-wise, garbage.
Yeah, I remember Sword and Shield coming out and playing it and enjoying it, but like internally thinking like Pokemon has to move on from this route-based map system they've got going on. And it feels like this whole Scarlet and Violet thing is the like half-baked step towards what Pokemon probably should be. But it just needed more time.
We got Arceus in between, right? We got the Legends Arceus.
Yes.
Which I think was quite divisive. I loved it.
I quite liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than the Scarlet and Violet mainline games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I remember you saying you played it like a shooter. You just ran forward, just mashing the throw ball.
I ran around like a third-person shooter, just like not even. It's like if you sneak up on the Pokemon and then throw the ball, you have an increased catch rate. It's like, yeah, what if I just throw 10 balls in like 5 seconds?
Pokemon has always had this really weird system though attached to it, where they have to release everything as a franchise, right? Like a new anime comes out, the new cards come out, then the new game has to come out like alongside it to keep going with each different generation, and again it's like a well-oiled machine almost. And so because of that, the games don't get necessarily as much time in the oven as they need. I feel.
Yeah,
and I think that's what this article says in it. Something along the lines of like, we have to release by a certain time. We realize that's been fucking our games a bit. We're going to try and not do that in future.
Yeah, it's like at some point you have to accept that they might be running off of a dev cycle that worked very well for sprite-based handheld games. When the dex size was, say, 500 to 700. But if you keep going along the same sort of cycles, but now the game is, oh, by the way, it's fully 3D, it's open world for the first time, this, that, and the other. It's just like at some point, it just buckles. I don't think it's not at some point it buckles. It clearly did buckle with Scarlet and Violet. Like, that game was not ready. Like, it was a game.
Yeah.
You can play it from start to finish. But you could tell it needed like another year of just technical work and polish and just stuff like that. Yeah.
I think the other thing we had, right, is I think we weren't too sure if like it was actually that bad, kind of at the start. And then I think it was you, Josh, who was
I was really mean to this game.
But also like you compared it to Breath of the Wild. And even now, since then, we've got Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like, we keep blaming the Switch, and it's like, yes, the Switch is ass, but clearly, there's more than enough power in it to make an open world game and not run like ass.
Well, we had
it's like you can set Tears of the Kingdom and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet screenshots side by side, and it's like you could convince someone those weren't for the same console, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing as well. Pokemon games come out every 3 years, right? So if we assume that's going to be a roughly 3-year development, or 3-year development time, I think Baldur's Gate 3 was a 6-year development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, what are they spent?
Well, Tears of the Kingdom was like what? Was 6 or something, right?
About 6 years, I think. Yeah, they said.
There you go. 6 years make a good game, and 3 years to make a kind of functioning good-ish game.
I think it's going back to like Tears of the Kingdom and putting screenshots side by side or whatever. There's we talked about it when we talked about Tears of the Kingdom, is that Tears of the Kingdom does look great. It's got a very strong art style that holds up, I think, really well. But there are some technical, bits when you play it where it does falter here and there. But because, at least for me, because the gameplay was so solid, you can push that to the side.
But that's what a lot of Pokemon fans are doing currently.
But my argument would be that I could do that with Pokemon, but it is where it is currently is too far gone for me to even like disbelieve. Like, if Pokemon is on a Switch, it doesn't have to look like fucking Horizon Forbidden West or some shit. Like, I don't care. It's Pokemon, but I don't want it to look like an N64 game that runs at, in certain situations, 15 FPS whilst a trainer is fucking T-posing in the background and a Psyduck is fucking backwards.
The very last zone in the newest Pokemon game.
It's awful.
Like,
fuck, man.
I don't think you can hit 20 FPS anywhere. It's so bad.
God, the final area, Pokemon, the ending, is it Area 0?
Yeah.
It's been like almost a year. I'm just going to talk about it. It's Area 0. It's the middle of the map. It's like the bit that's like teased the whole game. You get there. It looks terrible. It's so like, I don't know what the word is. It's like there's like low poly count rocks and cliffs everywhere. Everything's blurry. And I was kind of stunned when I played that section. Couldn't believe like this is the last thing you're going to show me before the game ends. And the final fight was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that last area was awful. And then you get jump scared by Ed Sheeran in the credits, and then it ends.
Oh, is that real? I thought that was a meme.
Okay.
I thought that was a meme.
Nice. The credits start rolling, and he did the official Pokemon song, I think. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, that plays, and I completely forgot. And Laura and I were both playing it, and we hit credits. We were like, "Oh my god, it's fucking Ed Sheeran! What is he doing here?"
I'd listen to Ed Sheeran do the poker rap though.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't actually jump. It's not like Five Nights at Freddy's. He doesn't actually jump scare you or anything. It's just
No, I figured you were joking. Yeah, I figured that part was a joke. Yeah,
he proper like Five Nights like comes at the screen.
but he just pops up with his guitars.
Scarlet and Violet, I think, is the most fun I've had playing Pokemon since Pokemon White came out. And I know a lot of people didn't like White, but I really did enjoy White. And before White, again, it would have been Pokemon Gold. So like, I loved Gen 1, really loved Gen 2. I was like right at the right age for when Gen 2 came out, and like having the color, all the little innovations that Gen 2 had in it were amazing. And then I kind of was like passively playing them without really giving a shit until White, and then I really enjoyed that. And then I went back to just kind of passively like, oh, these are very easy games. I can just kind of click through them. And then again, really, really enjoyed Scarlet and Violet, just because gameplay wise, I was like, this is a step in the right direction. And I was able to kind of ignore all of the technical shortcomings just because I was like, yeah, this is the Pokemon game that I've wanted since I was a kid. Now, like, please don't take the bad feedback from this and divert away from this. Do this better.
Yeah, when Scarlet and Violet finished, I was ready for it to finish. I was like, I want to finish this for the sake of completion and be done with it. I remember, this is like off topic a little bit, but I remember, I think we were all talking about it at the time, just like not on podcast, but just in group chat and stuff. And I remember Steve being obviously a massive Pokemon fan. He was saying like, "Oh, yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's been a little weird, but I don't think I've had any bugs or whatever." And I think about an hour later, he then posted again saying like, "Yeah, I've just crashed and lost like an hour and a half of like gameplay."
Yeah, he had massive crashing issues.
Yeah, I don't think I had any crashes, but for some reason I just remember that being like, oh, it's not that bad, and I've just lost 90 minutes.
But you did all finish it, so it clearly wasn't like a deal breaker.
What does it say? Yeah.
Yeah,
I finished it and was like, I'm ready for my next run. I'm going to do a Nuzlocke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so getting back on topic, stuff is happening internally, or hopefully, at least just something's got to change, because these games over time are only going to get more complicated, right? As people expect, more from the following game.
The question is, what do they do though? Do they detach the game from the rest of the franchise, or do they slow the rest of the franchise down?
You can't detach the games from the franchise, I feel, because Pokemon in its entirety is one, like you said earlier, it's one massive, well-oiled machine, right? Pokemon revenue is worth, I assume, like billions, and that's not just games. That's games that help push merchandise, that help push films, that help push brand awareness, that help push the games. Like, it's all like one big loop.
Yeah.
I guess you just, I don't know, maybe slow down the bigger gen releases and release. They're good at releasing like smaller mobile games and things these days to keep brand awareness high, but not necessarily introduce a new gen of Pokemon, right? Like Pokemon Cafe, Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Netflix shows about postal services and this and that and the other.
Well, the Pokemon anime has been in a weird place for a long time, right? When we got to the Shield and Sword anime, because bear in mind, I haven't really watched the Pokemon anime in a long ass time, but I did go back and watch the end of Shield and Sword because they got all of like the masters from all of the other and I will stand by the Pokemon League episodes of Pokemon anime. You can go back and watch them today, and they're still a fun time to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got back like Lance and Cynthia and all the champions from all the different regions, and put them all in a knockout tournament. And I was like, tournament arc is peak anime. Everyone knows this.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, the Sword and Shield anime was really weird. It was like, instead of like, oh, Ash goes through and collects all the gym badges, it was just kind of like a big tournament that Ash was in, and he was fighting gym leaders in the tournament, but not for badges. It was really weird. And then after that, like, we've now gotten rid of Ash because we've done the tournament.
Oh, he's been officially retired, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, we got a new character. I started watching because, again, I watched the very end of Pokemon because I was like, I want to watch this big tournament arc. So I was like, okay, I'll watch the beginning of new Pokemon. And it's very, very strange. It's like, girl goes to Pokemon school and then drops out of Pokemon school to become a Pokemon ranger / adventurer. It's very weird. But the point is, she's not, again, doing the generic go through, get all the badges. And again, I've already dropped that show.
I was going to say, like, yeah, how many times can you tell the same story, right?
I mean, it's a good story, mate. I love gym badges.
You just buy with Pokemon, yeah. How many have they? Yeah.
Plus, looking at Scarlet and Violet, it's already set up for. You could easily turn that into a show, right? Oh, you go to class, you meet all the different students, you can go around and do all the Team Star stuff and the gym challenge and the crap, what are they call the giant Pokemon things?
Gigantamax.
No, the one where you find like the giant wild Pokemon and then you get the special herbs off them to feed the dog.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, the big boss, like the bosses, like the world bosses.
Yeah, and you basically just have all of that with a massive cast of people. You travel around this whole island doing different bits and bobs with everyone. I'm like, yeah, that's an anime, right? That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But like, they're clearly not doing that. They're clearly, and I'm wondering if that's because, again, they want to stretch the show out so that they can stretch everything else out, right? Because if we don't get a new series of the show for a long time, then we can have a longer time spent on developing the game, spend longer time developing the card game as well, maybe.
Yeah, drag it. Take everything that they have and just stretch it so slightly. What's always confused me as well is why I know you can't just chuck more bodies at a problem and hope that it gets fixed, but I feel like when you're talking about Pokemon money specifically, I don't think Game Freak are that massive as a dev studio. Not for what they create, right? Like, it's very disproportionate.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the exact same devs that made the original Pokemon game. There's like 4 of them.
Yeah, so maybe just like some internal changes, i.e. change up development systems, get some more bodies in, stretch out everything, give everything more time. Maybe you'll see better games in the future. I don't know. We'll just have to just wait and see, I guess. I don't think we'll see another Pokemon. I don't think we'll see another mainline Pokemon game this gen. I think it'll be whatever the Switch 2 ends up being. There was recent rumors about some sort of Switch coming somewhat next year. I feel like we've heard that forever though. So God knows if anything actually happens. But yeah, that's all the Pokemon stuff. I think the only other, like I said, it's not a lot this week. The other sort of big-ish one, I don't know if we've got much to really say about it because we did it to death before. But you guys might have heard about this. This is about Overwatch 2 on Steam. Overwatch 2, yeah, so as I said, is now on Steam. Due to Steam obviously being able to have reviews, it is now the worst reviewed game on Steam by quite a big margin, I think. This just feels like, I guess, the culmination of all the pent up displeasure towards Blizzard about a lot of things, and people finally have an outlet to just, even if it's like something small, like a review.
Yeah,
it's some place to put it. But yeah, it's currently sitting at, as of this article on Reddit, 0.96, which it puts it at the lowest currently of all time. Every time this article got updated, or like this story, it just kept getting lower and lower and lower. And it's not just, from what I read, it's not just about, Diablo 4 being this, that, or the other, or Overwatch 2 being bad, but also a lot of the reviews are from Chinese players. Which I don't know a lot about this specifically, but China itself had a lot of issues, I think, with Blizzard. And some of their games are now harder to play, or they had to go like do weird workarounds and stuff to play. So again, it's just, like I said, it feels like the culmination of just a lot of ill will.
I got kind of jump scared by this because I was just on Steam and it was like, yeah, Overwatch is on there, and I was like, what?
Yeah, what the hell?
So Overwatch is on Steam now? What? How is okay? And then again, immediately horrendous reviews, and you can understand why. I mean, clearly it is not the worst game on Steam by a long stretch.
Yeah.
But again, I have no interest in playing it. And I was even saying when they originally announced it, that Overwatch 2 felt a bit cash grabby. And then as soon as they cancelled the PvE mode, it was then, well, this is just a massive fucking middle finger to everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, and then putting it on Steam with, it's free to play, no barrier of entry. If you want to leave a bad review for Overwatch 2, not that I'm endorsing.
Oh, you don't even have to buy it. I didn't even think.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That, like, this is obviously not a guide. Not like, hey, step 1, do this, but like, it's free to play. You click the add to library button. I think you do have to boot it. I'm not sure, but then even if you have like a minute playtime, you can just be like, this like shit game. leave a written review. Game is shit.
Hold on, let me see if I can negatively review Overwatch 2 right now.
Live on
Add to
the
library.
podcast.
Overwatch in general, though, has always been in a weird place, hasn't it? Like, I feel like as soon as it got competitive, its esport never really took off. The meta has always been in a really weird place, where I remember for the longest time it was like 3 tanks, 3 healers, and then they had to like force it to not be. Then they had to enforce that as well in the solo queue.
Yeah, I think
it's always been so strange.
I don't know. I feel like Overwatch 2 will now just sit in the background as another games as a service shooter that won't fail. It'll
never die.
It'll never die.
Just yeah.
But
it will take up valuable like dev and resource time that could go to something that's just like better. You know,
yeah, like Heroes of the Storm.
Like Heroes of the Storm 2 died, so Overwatch 2 could live. Yeah,
There's a kart racer.
To me, it's less of like the resources go elsewhere, and it feels like it sounds so dramatic. It's like a constant reminder of what could have been, right? Like Overwatch was always
Project Titan.
It was always not like that specifically, but you know the potential of Overwatch to have this big PvE mode and story mode, and they release all these shorts that look really good, and it's why don't they make a movie or a TV show? Well, we've got a PvE single player mode or whatever coming. It's going to be great, and it's cancelled and it's gone, but it's not cancelled. Are you confused? Because we are. Like,
I think
here's John Cena. Shut up.
It's funny. It's funny because it's like all this drama and all this stuff. If they just kept updating Overwatch 1, we would be in exactly the same spot. The game would be in exactly the same spot, except without this insane negative like air around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they just kept dumping content into Overwatch 1, I'm sure like they probably have an awkward conversation about monetization at some point, because like I think the original plan was like you buy the game once and all post launch stuff is just like they said it was free, right? Then they said they would never charge for heroes and
at
stuff.
some point a long time ago.
A long time ago. So it's like at some point they would have an awkward monetization scheme, but it's like if this was still just Overwatch and it was like, hey, now it's on Steam and it's free to play, and it would be, they could have avoided all this so easily.
Imagine all the shit that Blizzard have gone through, all the mishaps and the shit PR and all the internal shit, and Overwatch was always there in the background as a shining beacon of at least Overwatch plays great and gets updated all the time with cool characters and maps, and
it's like we could be in exactly the same spot if you hadn't gone on that weird Overwatch 2 side adventure where you just tried to burn as much goodwill as possible in as quick as time as possible.
Fuck's sake, Bobby, you fucked it again.
It's so sad because again, the animations they put out are really, really good, and those Source filmmaker videos as well, top notch.
Great. Okay. Moving on.
But again, they could make, like Josh was saying, they could make like a Netflix show about just those animations, and that would be incredible. I think, like in the same way Arcane did so well, I feel like Overwatch the show would be incredible as well.
Yeah,
there's always that thing though, right, where it's like, man, those trailers and everything is so good. Like, we should get a World of Warcraft movie.
I think that's
okay. That's different. That's different though, sort of.
Yeah, kind of.
Because the Overwatch one would be good.
Oh my god, it's even made by the same fucking developers as Warcraft. It's all Blizzard.
I feel like if you had the same people that like wrote the story for Warcraft 3 making that movie, bearing in mind, that's not how that works because it's a completely different style of storytelling, so you'd have to tell the story in a very different way. But make it closer to the original and have the pacing right and tell the right story. I feel like that movie has so much potential to do well, but I don't know, just felt cash grabby.
Alternatively, here is Scarlett Johansson just as Mercy, and it's a weird movie. Like, enjoy.
That's exactly how it would go. Yeah.
I'll take it.
What you gonna say, Will?
No, I think like everyone complaining, like, oh, Overwatch, the Overwatch that could have been, and it's like the real OGs are out here leaving negative reviews because of Project Titan.
Never forget.
Give
Project
me
Titan.
my MMO, Blizzard, you hacks.
Right, because we're running late, I'm going to push it to one last news story. So we get out of this quickly. This was just quite interesting. This is the last, what I would say, big one for the week. This is from Rockstar Games. You might have heard about this. If you remember a while back, it's still massive today, but there was the massive influx of people watching GTA RP. It was the thing.
No pixel stuff.
Yeah, it was so massive for ages. The crux of this new story is, I can find the names, I can never remember. Basically, yeah, the biggest Rockstar roleplay and creative communities, 5M and Red M, are officially part of Rockstar Games. Which is really odd. I think at some point in the past, there was Rockstar were really against modders.
Yeah.
Very anti-mod, don't touch our game, get banned, this, that, and the other. But now it seems like they're looking to more embrace this, modding community. I think it's very interesting, especially when it kind of feels like, I feel like GTA 6 is getting closer and closer, and it's just gonna, there's just gonna be a trailer one day that's just gonna suddenly, and then GTA 6 is just everywhere for ages until it comes out. It feels really close, is what I'm trying to say.
Can't wait to come out with a battle pass.
Oh, it will. It'll have all the modern stuff that it has. But I thought this was pretty cool. Officially partnering up with these people. I've never been big into these, sorts of things.
Yeah, it's interesting because they partnered up with the two that they have the most numbers of people.
Yes.
But these aren't the ones that streamers go and play on.
No, that's all no pixel, isn't it?
Yeah.
The problem with those ones is they're exclusive, right? Like
they invite only, I think.
Not anyone can get on there, yeah.
Well, they have the main one, which is the one that most people stream on, but they do have a completely open one, and people get vetted through that. Because obviously you need new people to come in, otherwise your community just dies.
Yeah.
So it does have something like that, but that doesn't really get showcased too much.
Yeah, and I do get why they have to vet people, because the entire purpose of an RP server falls apart as soon as someone's either not taking it seriously or just breaking the rules or whatever,
blaring music or swearing on your stream.
Yeah, which is the issue that these ones that have just raw numbers. It's just very weird to see.
I've kind of I have thought about that, in regards to this sort of thing and going forward, are people saying, "Oh, GTA in the future should implement official RP servers. That'd be cool, and anyone can play it." And I feel like that would be cool, but how many people would actually put in the time and dedication to actually create and stick to an RP character compared to just checking it out once and being like, "Oh, I got told off for doing something, so I left."
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a whole other conversation, but maybe you will see some kind of, I don't know, either official integration or at least an easier time making these sorts of servers for future games. Not just RP, but easier ways to put ramps in the sky to race down so I can create, content for one half of my TikTok videos.
So the big things about those servers is all the extra shit you can do, right? Like picking other players up, putting people in the trunk of your car, just all these extra little things. They always look super jank on these servers because obviously, there's not an animation for it.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to be able to do it. But the fact that you can do all that stuff is really, really cool. And I think that's what we would, I guess, like to see from roleplay servers is, could you make animations for all this sort of stuff? Could you make some of this functionality actually in the game?
And not just necessarily Rockstar have put those animations in, but now we have pipelines in place for modders to put that in themselves if that's what they want to add for their RP server, which is cool. I think that's really, really cool.
Just hiring them in the first place and being like, "Look, here's GTA 6 so far. What can we do to make your job easier once it comes out and you guys start going off on your RP stuff?" It's just really nice to see whenever someone grassroots this finally gets recognition from the company that
unless it's the long con and they get them in and say, "What do you want for RP and your custom servers?" and they tell them, then they fire them and stop these things from being in.
They figure out how to stop them from. They take
the mask off. We still hate modders. But yeah, I thought this was a new story where I read it and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I thought about some more and I was like, that's actually bigger than I think I initially realized. So
it reminds me a little bit of Blizzard flying out the private server WoW people to do Classic.
Oh, is that a thing? I didn't know that.
Oh, this was before Classic came out, but they got the guys behind Nostarius, which was the big server that got shut down.
Oh.
And they flew them out and had a chat with them to how they would implement like their own Classic servers. And then they did it.
That is cool. All I remember about Classic WoW being made was something about server shards. That's all I remember.
Good old server shards.
Yeah,
because they didn't want to have too many servers, and they knew there was going to be a massive influx at the start, and then a massive drop off.
Yeah.
So they sharded the servers by saying, if there's too many people, you're going to be in your own version of this server.
Yeah.
And then they eventually took them out, but that people argued it killed the economy and all blah 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 blah.
Yeah. But yeah. That's cool stuff. There's two more stories, but I'm just going to go through them quickly. Stop if you have anything to say, otherwise I'm just going to keep going.
Forever hold your peace.
Forever hold your peace. First one. God, that's like a flashbang of light when I changed the page. Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming out a week early. So the game is
Why?
It's gone gold. I think
it's competing with two other games.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is specifically, but that month, I think it's October, is stacked. October is mad. Let me find. I put it in our group chat. The list.
It was competing. There were two other games coming out right around the same time as Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, where did I?
And so it wanted to get the fuck out of the way.
Alan Wake 2?
Yeah, Alan Wake and.
There are too many games launching October. Okay, let's have a look.
What was the other one? It was a bigger game than Alan Wake, I think.
Lords of the Fallen, Alan Wake 2. Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2
is all the same week.
Yeah, super. And then also around that time period, you had, again, not massive, but at least not competitive, Super Mario Wonder was coming out around that time. And also, I think Mortal Kombat 1 is also around that time. Again, games that might not directly compete, but I want to play.
They're September. MK1, Cyberpunk, DLC, and Starfield are all September. And then Forza, Assassin's Creed, Lords of the Fallen, Alan Wake, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Brothers, City Skylines, and Alone in the Dark are all like
everyone should get away from City Skyline. Again, dominate all of them.
City Skylines on my birthday. Oh, it's gonna be.
we were
sit down, make some motorways, man. I'm excited.
We were talking not 2 months ago about how the end or the second half of this year was empty, and there's there was nothing coming out, and now it feels just. I think it was right before around E3 time.
Right.
It was like, oh my god, there's Tears of the Kingdom, Diablo, what else? What else came out around that time? The big game pocket, Final Fantasy, and Street Fighter. There were all these games coming out, and at that time, there were some games we knew were coming out second half of the year, but didn't have dates. We were like, okay, there's going to be a Call of Duty at some point, Spider-Man at some point. But then I feel like since then, lots of stuff has now been given locked in dates for September, October, and it feels all of a sudden really real, stacked. And it's like I said, since then you've had the Mario game announced, you've had Mortal Kombat given a date, you've had Spider-Man locked into October, and all this other stuff, and it just feels like it's crazy again. It's like every week there's a brand new AAA game.
That doesn't fill me with confidence, or I guess that Assassin's Creed Mirage they've got much confidence in if it's getting out of the way of Lords of the Fallen. No offense, Lords of the Fallen. I'm sure that's going to be a fine game, but
a lot of people I think are going to be like, oh, Spider-Man is going to be amazing, and some of these other games as well people really like. And Assassin's Creed has kind of swung and missed a little bit recently.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like people might just not even bother checking it out to find out if it's any good. Whereas I feel like if it's the only thing coming out during a certain week, people will be like, oh yeah, I'll check that out.
It's a weird one this year. Mirage is like this weird, shorter game, back to its roots. It's $50, not $70, whatever that translates to us. I don't know. But it's I don't think they're throwing it out to die or anything, but it feels like maybe expectations are a little bit less compared to, say, like a Valhalla or an Odyssey.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the tentpole it normally is, does it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just put it in an environment where it can really thrive and do its best, right? And then see what happens. And that's the best they could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the crux of the story is it's now coming out a week early. It's gone gold at this point, which means, boy, that used to mean it's been pressed to disc, but that's kind of losing meaning these days in a digital world. But
yeah,
that was that story. And the last one, you ever played Darkwood? Anyone here play Darkwood?
Nope.
To my shame, someone bought that for me a really, really long time ago, and it's been sat on my hard drive for about a year and a half. And every time I see it, I think tomorrow will be the day I play Darkwood, and I never get around to it.
It's the creepy, like top-down horror game.
Yeah.
Kind of survivally, but it's a very scary game. Very popular. It did very well. They released another game recently. It was like some soccer game, and it was like a demo. And the devs have just come out and said, yeah, making Darkwood, and now this new game, because they're just like a small indie studio, they can't find a process or like a way of working that's not detrimental to them all. So they've just gone on hiatus forever. They closed down, basically. They announced their 5 to 10 year hiatus. Which basically, as far as I'm concerned, means like we're just like done, and maybe we'll come back if we feel like it.
Yeah,
but kind of sad because lots of people speak very highly about Darkwood. But yeah, like I said, not a massive new story, but just thought that was kind of sad, really, because I know a lot of people like his games. Yeah, look more into that if you want to read that story. You can find that easily by googling about Darkwood. But yeah. The Suds post in the Twitch chat, indie studio takes one look at a football sim and loses faith in the industry. That's about right. That's all the news stories. So next week for releases, there are some biggies. I'm pretty sure I've got them already here, but I'm going to throw it out and see if anyone... do people know is coming out next week? Like, Matt, is there anything coming out next week that you are aware of?
Classic World of Warcraft hardcore.
You know I don't have a tab for that. Come on now. But
I'm very excited. Me and Stewie are going to play. It's going to be great.
That's one. Yeah, Armored Core is next week.
Oh, fuck. What day?
Friday the 25th? This says August 24th. I'm pretty sure it's the 25th. I don't know.
Yeah, I have 25th written in my calendar.
Yeah, I thought it was 25th. Either way, yeah, Armored Core 6 is coming out, which is going to be... This is the biggest release of next week. It's the one I thought all of you would get.
I'm excited.
I literally don't care.
No,
I feel like
but
this
you didn't
is
care
either
about
going to
Elden
be...
Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I dropped Elden Ring, so, you know.
So why would you care about this?
Because it's mechs.
How many mech games do you play, Sam? Did you play MechWarrior?
Man's played
Not played MechWarrior, I played a lot of
Sam played
Battletech.
that fucking turn-based Gundam monstrosity that we watched him
yeah.
stream. Do you remember
To be
that?
fair,
Yeah.
I dropped that Gundam game after that evening. I paid 40 quid for it and played it once. Maybe one day.
Jesus, good investment.
Yeah, I for one really looking forward to this game. I watched like the demo thing they put out, and it looks incredible. Everyone keeps being like, it's not Elden Ring, right? I'm like, I know, but it still looks really cool. I really like mechs.
The ongoing like. It's Dark Souls for mechs. No, it isn't. Yeah, it is fascinating to me. I love it. Every thumbnail, every day I boot up YouTube and I have a thumbnail telling me that if you like Dark Souls, you will love or hate Armored Core 6. I'm so excited.
I'm looking forward to... I do feel like it's going to be such a massive amount of people that play this and then get an hour in and just feel like... Huh?
Yeah.
What? This isn't...
Well, I think this
isn't Elden Ring at all.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like Dark Souls is a lot of things to a lot of people, and for some Dark Souls people, Elden Ring, Armored Core is going to slot right in, right? And they'll be perfectly happy. And then for potentially people who come to Dark Souls or Elden Ring for something slightly different, they're going to be like, fuck this noise. This is rubbish.
I'm still shocked this game even exists, right? I would have thought that From Software going forward would just be the Souls studio.
Yeah.
Like we make Dark Souls, and we make Dark Souls spin-offs like Elden Ring.
Yeah, or like this. Why Armored Core and not another like not another Sekiro, but another Sekiro in the sense like some
give me another
complete
Sekiro
spin-off. I mean, I'd take another Sekiro.
Yeah,
but
for real,
but,
give me another
like,
Sekiro. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, why not some weird spin-off game? Why not Mech Souls? You know, why bring back? Because didn't they leave Armored Core in like a sort of whatever kind of state? Like nobody really cared by the end of the Armored Cores before this, right? So it is weird.
I feel like
did anyone give
chosen
a shit about Kingsfield when they stopped making them?
Oh, that PS1 janky first-person Souls game, right? Is that right?
And then they just kept making it and made it Demon Souls, and people went, "Wait a minute, this is actually pretty good."
I feel like this is gonna piss someone off. I feel like Armored Core.
I'm already pissed
as
off.
a series.
Hold on, let me get pre-pissed.
I feel like Armored Core as a series, you go to like fans, and they're really excited, and you go, "Oh, Armored Core, those games must be really good then," and people are like, "They're all right."
yeah, like even the diehard fans, they're like, "You excited for new Armored Core?" And it's like, I'm like worried, but sort of excited. Yeah.
The only people that have tempered their expectations are actual Armored Core fans.
Well, some of the old Armored Core games can be very off-putting. Like, for example, in a lot of the very, very early ones, ammunition was very expensive. So you would sit there and you'd be like, all right, I'm going to have dual Gatling guns as arms and rocket launchers over my shoulders. I'm going to go and I'm going to blast everything. And then you get to the end of the mission. It's like, you've lost all of your money. You've made zero money from this mission because you used so much ammunition. And it's like, but I got to use all the cool guns. But as for me, I am the kind of person that loves managing all that shit. I love managing my weight to my power consumption to my like ammo usage. Like, that shit is my wet dream. So
it'd be interesting to it's just like I'm not overhyped for this, but I'm kind of excited. I'm more to see just if it's good or not. I think it'll be. I think
playing
it'll be good. I've got it rented, so I'll have a PS5 copy coming in the post.
Yeah.
But I'm not gagging for it, right? I'm just it'll turn up, I'll play it, it'll be what it is, and hopefully it looks cool.
Does it have multiplayer? I've just not.
I don't know.
I'm sure it has none whatsoever.
I'm like you.
No,
I'm so disconnected from this as a game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you scroll down, it'll say, wouldn't it?
I can't be bothered. Next game coming up next week. This is the wrong order. This comes out end of the week. Towards the beginning of the week, you have a game coming out called Immortals of Avium. This is, I reckon people won't know what this is until I remind them. It gets a trailer like every big event, like Gamescom, Game Awards, whatever. It's the weird wizard first-person shooter, like single player.
I always remember this game. It's weird.
There's a video, you can see it now. Published by EA, made by Ascendant Studios. It's certainly AAA. It's really weird. It looks like one of those games that will be, like decent. Like maybe it's a decent game, but no one remembers it and it never gets a sequel. Reminds me of a lot of like PS3 and Xbox 360 games that came out and had one-offs and are never seen ever again.
This game just looks so. It's weird to say, but it looks generic.
No, I know what you mean.
Which is like, but nothing. Like, nothing here is generic, right? It's like the enemy design looks interesting-ish. Like it's a weird magic shooter, but nothing here stands out and makes me go, "Oh wow!" I'm like, this looks.
It kind of looks
it's like, how can I come away from a trailer where a guy with a magic wrist shoots a minigun at like a floating vampire man? Yeah. And I'm like, and I've just felt nothing from that. I don't know how they managed it.
It kind of looks like Doom. Like Doom Eternal without like all the hyper gore and stuff. Like it looks very fast paced. It looks visually interesting. It might be a cool little ride. Again, I've got this coming in the post, so I'll check it out at some point. That comes out. That comes out the beginning of the week. That's on the 22nd. And one little game that's sandwiched between this and Armored Core is Blasphemous 2.
Blasphemous.
This is 24th of August as well.
Blasphemous. These are games I've always appreciated from afar.
Yeah, Blasphemous 1. Very well known, I think, just for its art. Where that game was so... I don't know, it's like... very graphic, very gritty. This new game looks a lot more colourful, which is kind of odd. Very weird choice. not massive hype around this, but when I saw it, it's
I feel
certainly
like the people who are in, right? And everyone else is like another one of those. Cool.
Yeah. But this comes out as well. It's the only indie one in the group. I think Blasphemous 1 is currently on sale, which is kind of cool. You get it on Steam for like $5.
I think it's on Game Pass, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to check it out if it is. But yeah, that's the only other release that's coming out. There's obviously much more coming out in the upcoming weeks afterwards. So I think again, this is the beginning of. Kind of feels like the beginning of a lot of stuff coming out again, which is kind of cool. I felt like over the last, I don't know, week or so, it's just been, played a bit of RuneScape, played a bit of Dead by Daylight, because I've been into Baldur's Gate, so everyone else has had that to fill their boots.
You've been like stuck at home while we're all off at summer camp in Baldur's Gate.
But I chose to stay at home.
It's like playing catch by yourself in the yard.
But yeah, so that's all the upcoming game stuff. I guess we should just sort of wrap this up then. Thank you for coming on, Matt. It's been really cool having you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun chatting with you boys.
Did you want to do... I'll give you a little platform quick. The tiniest platform in the world to talk about... mention your Yu-Gi-Oh! Quick, because I love your videos. Where can we find them?
Yeah, I'm over on YouTube, Tomatosaurs on YouTube, and I'm actually planning to start streaming when Rushdoor comes to Duel Links, which will be towards the end of next month.
Sick!
I've always said I'd like to do streaming, but I've never had a game I've wanted to sit there and stream constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So now I'm actually getting a game coming out, which is, the thing I do on YouTube is now going to be an official thing that I can like click the ladder button.
So sick. You just grind it on Twitch.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That'd be cool to watch. Yeah, so that's Tomatosaurs on YouTube and on Twitch. What about you, Will? Where can we find you?
Yeah, everybody knows where to find me.
And Sam.
Don't find me. You can find me on Matt's YouTube, actually.
You can. Yeah, because you're in a handful of his videos, right?
Generation Drafts.
Generation Drafts. If you want to listen to more Sam and more of Matt, find them in those videos there. My name is BottlerWorks and everything, but I don't use anything, so I have nothing to add to any of this, really, I guess. So. But yeah, I'm running out of steam, so let's just say goodbye to everybody. So, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.